Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? It's the show where you control what's on the agenda. Ask us anything and we're blood-bound to answer. Starring Rick Nash, Corporate King, and the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Harvey. It's Ask Low Blows.
Right, so wrestling's back in August. That's the first big bit of news. And I was going to talk about it, but I did get a text. Let me just read it real quick. It says, Cian, in the intro at the start, can you bring up the revival? I have some stuff on their TIJ interview from Rick Nash. So, the revival were on Talk with Jericho. That's what TIJ stands for, yeah?
Yeah, Cian, are you aware that this is a whole show? We can discuss a multitude of topics. If I say one thing that I want to discuss, you don't have to turn everything else off.
No, this strikes me as important. This strikes me. There is something on your chest about the revival. Wrestling being back. We will push that to the side. We'll put it doesn't matter. The revival. That what Cash? What are their names again?
I don't know. Cash Wheeler, is it?
Cash Wheeler and Dax or Jax?
Dax Dawson. What is it? Dawson? Are you still using it?
I don't know. So I probably should have looked it up myself before doing this. But regardless, they were on Talk with Jericho. Actually, before coming on, I did read it wasn't a transcript. It was kind of like a summary.
Yeah.
It seemed alright. I'm curious to know what you have to say about it, because I don't really have anything to say about it personally.
The only reason I brought it up today was I wanted to... Oh, hi, by the way. Hi, everyone.
Oh, fuck yeah. Sorry, I'm here with generally managing Rick Nash, Mr. Small Package Phil Boyd, and former OTT Women's Champion Katie Harvey.
Well, I just want to point out the heavy breathing and stuff is not me or Phil, it's our dog. I know you guys can hear it, and it's not us. We haven't gone that far yet in quarantine.
Katie Harvey, she put the me in former. Yeah, the revival, they were on Talking There. No, it's only because it's kind of the news that's out today, and I was listening to it, so I was I better actually do something with this, since I'm actually putting the time in to listen to it. I don't know, I want to get your thoughts on it, because for me, all of these these interviews when people leave WWE, they're interesting, but also I don't know, maybe I'm seeing it differently to other people based on what the reaction is, because people love to gossip about WWE, and obviously we're all interested in it. We all want to know what it's like and how mental Vince McMahon is and stuff like that. So it is interesting, but whenever I hear these kind of podcasts, what annoyed me in it was they went on for ages about... And I spoke about this before, but they went on for ages about ideas that WWE had for them, and they never spoke about and they were slagging the ideas that WWE had for them, but they never spoke about ideas that they had to do stuff. And this bothers me because for example, if in my job, in any job, if your employer is coming up and going, yeah, we're going to give you a new kind of role, then it means that we don't think you're effective in whatever current role you're in. So I want to try mix things up because I see potential in you, and I want to see if you can do something if we give you a different job. And then if you fail in that, that's generally in any other job apart from wrestling, in WWE specifically, that means that you haven't done your job well and you haven't been enticing to your employer. And it's part of your job to be able to impress your employer and to be able to be useful to them in a way that they'll want it. The ideal with wrestling and with any other job is that you'll be coming to your employer and you'll be giving them ideas that's going to increase business, increase revenue, and this and that and the other. And even if your employer is pig-headed as Vince McMahon is supposedly is, a lot of managers and bosses are that way, but at the same time they still are there's a way that you learn to speak to them, and learning that is part of your job. There's a way that I go in when I talk to my managers, there's a way that I pitch ideas, there's a way that I know they'll be receptive to it, and there's stuff that I know not to do as well, and that's part of my job as well as the actual day-to-day duties that I have. But in wrestling, for some reason, people are yeah, well, WWE are stupid and these guys, but to me, I'm looking at it for example, I'll use Luke Harper. He's the last guy to do this interview. who kind of was similar, and he was like, well, WWE never gave me, and now he wasn't ripping the piss in the way the Revival were, so I'm not going to go at him, but like, Luke Harper in AEW is Luke Harper. He's not like Stone Cold Steve Austin when WCW let him go and he went to ECW and everyone was like, what have WCW missed? He's getting about as much buzz as he got whenever he was with WWE, but he works for a smaller company now. So like, it's not as if he set the world on fire, or a lot of these lads have set the world on fire. John Moxley's done quite well out of it, so he'd be kind of the exception. But like, these lads that are coming out and doing these expose podcasts, for me, it's just highlighting their inability to do their job well. I'm sure the Revival are great wrestlers, and that's fine. We've all seen them have amazing matches, but also they're not doing an aspect of their job, which is pitching their managers, which is coming up with ways for them to be useful, because their managers had to come to them and put time into creating ideas for them, which they later mocked because they didn't have better ideas. So I think it's also important that we hold wrestlers accountable for that too, rather than just jumping on the bandwagon because it's cool to slag WWE. I'm not defending WWE. A lot of the ideas were terrible, but the reality was the Revival could have came up with their own ideas as well. They didn't. And if they didn't know how to pitch Vince McMahon, or if they didn't know how to get ideas in, that's a failing on their part. And it'd be the case in any job that you do on the planet. But in wrestling, for some reason, we just think, oh no, it's automatically their fault because Vince McMahon is rich. I think is the logic behind it. I don't know. But am I missing?
How can you? Yeah, how can you say Luke Harper hasn't set the world on fire when wrestling's literally been cancelled since he left?
But I'm not saying, like, he's still wrestling every week. He's still on the show. He's still the Exalted One, but he's Luke Harper in a jacket. Do you know what I mean? He's the exact same as he was in WWE, except he doesn't speak with a southern accent, and he's in a jacket. And not everyone, people are still talking about AEW. Like, they did the Montana, they did a feature on the what do you call it? What's Jericho's stable in AEW?
The Inner Circle.
The Inner Circle. They did a version of the Brady Bunch, except through video calls. That was excellent on Dynamite last week. I'm not saying the same about, like, there's still wrestling happening. We can still talk about it. And the reality is they haven't, I'm not blaming Luke Harper or having a go at him, but I'm just saying he's probably not going to be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's probably not going to do that. He's Luke Harper. He is who he is. We've seen him, and he's grand. He's good at what he does. And the Revival are probably going to be the same. They're probably not going to set the world on fire, but now at the moment they're just blaming everyone else for their issues. And that's a failure to take responsibility for their lack of success. As far as
I disagree. I disagree. I think, again, I feel like, first of all, I don't think we've had... For me, again, we might follow different people and see different things, but I haven't seen anybody really talking about anything from AEW or anything really from WWE either. I think wrestling's kind of... It's happening, yeah, but it's really kind of, on pause. I don't know really how to describe it, but you know what I'm trying to say. But also, I think the Revival, I disagree. I think the Revival are... Harper, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but the Revival, I think, matches with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros and stuff like that. I think we're going to be blown away by the Revival in AEW, if that's where they go. Obviously, they're not, like, signed or anything like that yet. We don't know, but I think we'll wait and see. I think it's until wrestling comes back properly, I don't think it's fair to really sort of judge how anybody's getting on yet. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, but let's take it away from a wrestling standpoint and let's put the onus back on them as well. Let's make them accountable as well. In a job, is it the employer? Should the employer have to come up with ideas for how you should succeed, or should you come up with ideas for how the person paying you can earn money based off you? Whose job is that? Like, just a simple, regardless of who we're talking about or how much we like them or whatever. Whose job is it to come up with ideas for how you're valuable? Is it the employer's job to create stuff for you, or is it your job to create stuff to interest your employer and make yourself valuable to your employer?
Well, in wrestling, is there not a creative team or something like that hired? Like, it's not their job.
Their job is to put together what they have and build that into a show. But it's your job to make yourself as good as you can to be the person that is considered for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's your job to back that up with whatever you're given and then be able to come up with your own stuff.
Well, like, I always take John Cena here as a really good example. Now, I could be wrong on this. I wasn't there firsthand. But John Cena, apparently, just before the Thugonomics thing, started rapping in the back of a bus or something along those lines. And one of the, I don't know if it was one of the McMahons or something like that, or was someone high up in the locker room said, like, this is really good, like, you should do this. So in a way, I would say that John Cena was showcasing something that WWE could work with. So like, that's where John Cena putting himself out there and sort of saying, well, this is what I can do. Same way I said about the spinner belt, how he bought the spinner belt a few weeks ago and like showed him Vince and Vince loved it. And suddenly then he became US champion, WWE champion.
But was that not the employer identifying something in him?
Well,
and
he
going,
came to them
you know what
with
I mean?
the spinner belt. He
came
pitched
to
to them.
them.
No, not the spinner belt. I mean the rapping thing on the bus. That was just supposed. I wasn't there, obviously, but like from what I've heard, like that's just him, you know, having fun in the back of the bus.
They didn't turn around to him and go, John Cena, do you know what? We're not sure if you can do this, but we think you should be doing a rapper gimmick. And then it just so happened he was good at rapping. You know what I mean?
That worked out really well.
They should have got a rapper gimmick for somebody who can't rap. That'd be way better. That'd be money.
He was called B2.
Yes.
The thing about it is, and I would find this a lot with guys coming up to me as well about gimmicks, and I'm like, you know what, like, you're paid to do what WWE asks you to do, or AEW asks you to do, or whatever the promoter or the booker asks you to do. But if you're not happy with what they're asking you to do, then by all means you should be pitching something creative, something that can take you to the next level. And if you can't do that, then you are just there as exactly what you're there to do. Whatever the script they give you, you are just to play it out to your best abilities. And again, if you haven't got the ability to come up with your own concepts or your own ideas or your own niche, let's say, then you just become someone probably like Luke Harper. Again, I've no hatred towards Luke Harper. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. But again, if you're middle of the road somewhere, it's probably because you're lacking the ability to come up with an idea that can take you to the top, you know?
And like, am I being too harsh there when I say that part of a wrestler's job is to learn? Like, not even, you can have all the ideas in the world, but you could be shit at pitching them. But pitching is part of your job. Like, going to even from trainees coming up to you, like, it's about learning what you want to hear. It's about learning what Fight Factory needs, and it's about like kind of, you know, if someone comes up to you and they haven't had a match and they're like, you know, I think I should be the Irish Junior Heavyweight Champion. You're going to be like, no, that's a terrible pitch. But if they go, I think I've got a nice gimmick that fit in the first match, or where you need a slot filled, and it'd actually help this and this and this wrestler, and it'd help Fight Factory as a whole, you're going to be like, all right, I'm listening to it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's part of your job. And
you know, plenty of mid-carders have bet on themselves since leaving WWE and actually like gone higher than they would have in WWE. Like, I can think of like 5 or 6 different people who would be considered mid-carders in WWE but have left, and they're able to implement their own ideas and are much more successful now.
I agree. I totally agree. And look, I'm not even suggesting that WWE are great or coming up with ideas, and if you can't make their ideas work, like, we all see it. We see it like when we watch Raw. Like, some of this stuff is just fucking cringe. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's the end result of them having to go, well, what are we going to do with these lads that we're paying? Like come up with something for them. Like, maybe we'll fucking stick them in the shower and have each other wash each other's backs or something. And then, like, but that's the end result of, like, desperation to actually get some value out of someone. So, like, and part of that has to lie on the wrestler at the end of the day, like, because they're responsible for it. Like,
can I do a quick quiz with everyone here? Okay, I'm just going to name a wrestler's name, and you just tell me. I'm just going to ask you whether they're a main eventer or not. You just say yes or no, okay? All right. AJ Styles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Cesaro.
No.
Wait, what do you mean by main event? Do you mean like, would WWE put them in a main event, or
main eventer? Like, do you think they should be in the main event?
Oh yeah.
Cesaro, no.
Fuck yeah, Cesaro's a tank.
He's a great wrestler, but he doesn't have that end bit, like, and he hasn't shown it. Like, I don't get excited for matches, so no.
Just yes or no. We won't go into detail about either. Okay. Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
Like, it's John Moxley. Like, yeah.
Yeah, John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Nice, boring.
Joey Janela, did you say?
Undertaker.
Yes.
Okay, so even just those few I've named, how many main eventers have you just named? How many did you say yes to?
There's about 12, 13, yeah.
Okay, see, this is the issue with the wrestling community, all right?
Yeah.
They say somebody's undervalued. WWE are treating him. Sami Zayn, by the way.
No.
You wouldn't know?
I wouldn't put him above, a lot of the other names that are there. You know what I mean?
Dolph Ziggler?
No.
Yeah, see, a lot of people give out about, like, people not being in the main event. So when you go to WWE wastes so much talent. They don't use talent the right way. The problem you have to understand that if you were given the book in WWE is that you've got this plethora of talent, right? So many superstars. All your indie favorites, all your WWE favorites are seen as Ortons, guys who didn't necessarily come through the indies. You've got all this talent. Like, what are you meant to do there? If you were to please the internet community, you would have to have 26 ways every main event of every pay-per-view with all the favorites in it. But what people don't realize is that, Samoa Joe is not in the main event right now. Like, he's in rotation. Finn Balor's a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
Finn Balor will come around again, right? Finn will come around the main event at some point. Right now, he's floating around NXT, he's floating around the mid-card, he's doing his thing, like a lot of people, like Samoa Joe, like Seth Rollins, really, not doing much. Seth Rollins was main event in WrestleMania not too long ago. But it will all come full circle for those guys. Like, everyone takes their turn, they all get their main event spotlight, and it goes away. The Miz is another person who constantly just evolves from main event to mid-card to main event to mid-card, So, when people talk about WWE don't know how to book talent, it's an extremely difficult thing to do when you've got that much high quality talent there. Like, it would be much easier to book a card if you only had 2 top talented people and the rest of your card was trash because you know who your main eventers are. And you've got a roster full of main eventers, and then people say WWE don't book them the right way. Like, I'd like to see some people do better. Like, really would. Like.
So in that, it kind of follows on to kind of bring it full circle that, like, if you're not at the peak of that, like, a lot of that is down to competition. So even talented people like the Revival, which, keep in mind, I'm not saying they're not talented, they are, but, like, even talented people like that, if they're not kind of pulling their A game every time, including backstage, and killing everything they have, you're going to be left out, like, because of that dilemma, because there's 30 established WrestleMania main eventer level talents that are going to be right in front of you who are bringing their A game at all stages.
You're going to get left out regardless. Like the Usos, like, we just even talk about tag teams. Like, the Usos can go from doing nothing to main eventing it, like main eventing the headline, the tag team division, like that. Like, they flip and flop, but what you don't realize is that all these guys should be working together. Like, all right, this is the team we're going to push now. Everyone, let's make this team look super strong. And once that team is made super strong, another team will be made to look super strong. If there's one thing people don't give WWE enough credit for, is that they produce superstars like nobody's business. Like, all right, AEW is in its very infant stage, but no one produced stars like WWE or WWF. Like, a lot of promotions and a lot of indie promotions live off the fact that Vince McMahon has created stars. Like, it's just, when you talk about somebody like the Revival, like, they had their moment at the top. And not to say that another moment wasn't coming around. Like, I'm a big fan of the OC. I'm no doubt Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are going to do great. Yeah. They're going to go to AEW. They can go back to New Japan in a heartbeat, I reckon. Like, they've got options on the indies. Like, but when you're some tag team in WWE who, the Revival's a bad example, but if you're someone floundering in WWE and you're not a huge indie star, and I'm not talking about indies, I'm not talking about going to OTT. Like, I'm talking about, like, well, I'm not even talking about indies. I'm talking about if you can't go from WWE to one of the other contract companies, then I would not be ruffling anything because there's no guarantee when you leave, because you're competing against all the indie people wanting to come up. Yeah. And to be honest, you're competing against the talent that are already there. And if you're not standing out in WWE, I don't really think that you're guaranteed to stand out anywhere else as well. So
it's an interesting one. It's like we're kind of getting to the nub of what wrestling is. So yeah, no, I think that's going to run a run. That's some interesting points there. But yeah, no, Cian, sorry, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Well,
worked out okay, I think.
We did talk about it, so that's good. Will we hop into the questions?
Sure, whatever you think. You're in charge.
So the first question is from Linda at midget_mammy.
Linda.
What is your favorite non-wrestling related fact? I enjoy facts very much. Well, WWE. John Cena. I'm going to Google a non-wrestling fact because I don't know anything about non-wrestling anything. Rick, if you know any facts, please read away and I'll Google. I'll find something in the meantime.
Canadians say sorry so much that a law was passed in 2009 declaring that an apology can't be used as evidence of admission to guilt. So if you say you're sorry in Canada in court while you're being accused of something, that you won't be charged for that. That's an interesting non-wrestling fact. There you go. Source, typing facts into Google and clicking the first page that came up. Also, another one, interestingly enough, the only letter that doesn't appear on the periodic table is J. There you go.
Wow. Hey, Phil, try an out factor.
I actually do have a favourite fact, and I think about it at least once a week. So, if you have a frog, okay? I think I've told it on this podcast before because I really do enjoy this fact. If you have a frog and you throw him into boiling water, he'll try to jump out. But if you put a frog in cold water and slowly turn up the boil, he will never try to escape. Jeez. He will just adapt to his surroundings and die. And I think about it when I'm having existential crises about once a week.
Right.
But it's a really interesting fact. He won't try to save himself because he just gets used to his surroundings.
It's like a really dark Instagram sunset quote. It's like, if you boil a frog, they won't jump. It's like set to a sunset in the background.
I want to make it clear though, I'm not advocating trying this. You know, I already feel bad that somebody obviously tried this once or twice to find out the fact.
Yeah, frogs died for your fact, Harvey.
The real question is, like, did they try with other animals?
Oh no!
It's got dark.
Yeah, it's dark side of the
I hope Phil has a lighthearted fact now to pick us up.
Okay, so you know what? Consider we're talking about temperature. Do you know there's no such thing as cold?
What?
There's no such thing as cold. Like when you feel cold, there's no such thing as.
Oh, okay.
Cold isn't measured. Cold is the definition of absence of heat. So we measure heat, but we don't measure cold. When we talk about degrees and Celsius, we talk about the absence of heat more than how cold something is.
But do you not like have like fucking freezing and then like just kind of cold? Do you know what I mean?
It's -2, -3, -4, so that's minus degrees of heat.
Oh yeah.
Not degrees of cold.
There's no, actually, it's like time is a man-made concept. There's no such thing as time either. We just needed to invent it to understand why the sun is up at some times.
We can measure heat, but we can't measure cold.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'd never thought about it that way. Have you ever thought about the fact that Iceland doesn't have a railway system? Am I right? I'm still on the same page.
Right. My fact is also animal related. Bit dark, but you know, it's a fun fact. A pig apparently got hung in the French Revolution for biting someone. So there you go. My fact of the day.
Was he convicted?
Did they put him on trial?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here, Cian.
Well, you see, the French Revolution, they were kind of going mad with the whole hanging and stuff. So I don't know, like, 'cause, I mean, by the time it would take somebody to stand a fair trial, I don't know.
Probably one of those aristocrat pigs.
Yeah.
His little thing around his neck and stuff like that. Like, telling all the other pigs to just eat truffle.
Fuck's sake. Any more facts, or are we all facted out for today?
The largest Japanese population outside Japan stands at 1.6 million people who live in Brazil. There you go. The more you know.
And we've 1.2 Brazilian, it's 11 here.
That's why, like, I feel like if there wasn't so many Japanese there mightn't be so many Brazilians here. Why do Brazilians come to Ireland? Like, I've always wondered that.
I actually know the answer.
Go on.
Ireland is one of the few places where they can get a visa to work and study. Ireland and Canada.
Oh, I never knew that.
They can also gain citizenship in Italy if they have, I think it's through to their grandparents, if they have, because there's a big Italian population in Brazil. And they can also try go to Portugal because of the language. There's like a language amnesty.
Right.
But in general, Ireland and Canada are the only two places they can work and study at the same time.
Okay.
Think of how good our football team is going to be in like 2 generations.
Oh, shit, yeah. That's Davey.
And how good looking our population's going to be.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. Like, what would an Irish-Brazilian name be called, though? Where it's like Donleo. You know what I mean? I know that's not how naming works, but...
It'll be Fergal.
I'm trying to think.
Fergal, Silva, McCarthy, Sanchez.
Jairzinho. Oh, God.
Fernando da Silva Queiroz.
Johnny Pele, like...
Yeah, I mean, all these possibilities, shit.
There we go.
I now really want to see the Irish football team.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, well. Yeah, thanks for the question, Linda. I hope those facts were good enough. I thought they were all right. And, yeah, at Nolanoid 4000. Is there anything you've gotten into during the plague that you wouldn't have expected? Like how I lost several days playing Euro Truck Simulator. P.S. Cian, Driver 3 is still shit and you'll always be wrong about it. Jonathan, I guarantee you haven't even played Driver 3 if that's your opinion on it. Are you sure it was Driver 3? Are you sure someone didn't just give you Little Britain on PS2 but put it in a Driver 3 cover and you thought it was Driver 3 the whole time but it was actually Little Britain? Because that's genuinely my theory on it. The game is an absolute banger, and I highly recommend you play it again in order to change your mindset on it. But in terms of your question, I don't know, Katie, Phil, anything you've gotten into that you wouldn't expect during this plague?
Surprisingly, I've gotten into basketball because I started watching that Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls documentary on Netflix, and it is the best thing I've watched in lockdown. I'm not a basketball fan, but like I am engrossed in this program, and so much so that I bought a basketball and I've been making Phil go up to the local court with me.
She bought 2 basketballs.
I bought 2 basketballs.
Nice.
I bought one online for like 15 quid, and then I went to the €2 shop and found one. So I really should have checked the €2 shop first. But I might actually start watching basketball when it's back.
This is the thing that people don't realize about basketball. Like, as interesting as The Last Dance is, it's like that all the time. It's such a good sport to follow, and there's not it's such a nice sport to follow as well, because you don't have the tribalism of football. You don't have the toxic side of wrestling where people kind of hate it as well. Their fans kind of hate it as well. Everyone in basketball just loves basketball. You've got amazing characters. You don't have a lot of problematic people either. You don't have in American football they have a lot of people who are done for domestic abuse or this or that or the other, and you're kind of feeling shady about liking it. In football, a lot of them are cheaters and kind of rich, kind of spoiled brats. In basketball, yeah, they're rich and all, but they're charismatic and they're also generally nice. There's not that many scandals around it. Here's one thing I want to know though, because I notice a lot of people are getting hooked by The Last Dance, that wouldn't be into basketball or even sports. What's kind of the appeal? What's hooking you more than anything?
It's like wrestling.
Yeah.
The way it's crafted as well, with the stories and the characters. I would watch a whole second series just on Dennis Rodman now. He's nuts. I don't know. I do love sports movies, even though I don't really watch sports, things like Cool Runnings and stuff. I love the sports story, the determination, the going for it, seeing if people kind of achieve their goals, and it's kind of like that. Yeah. Because I don't know about basketball, I don't really know how this turns out.
Do you not know what happened? So, have you kind of avoided, not spoilers because it's his life, but, do you know what happens next?
I know a general gist of what happens to Michael Jordan because of Space Jam.
Okay. But you don't know what caused... So, you know he played basketball, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Or you know he played baseball. Sorry. Do you know why he played baseball?
Because his dad loved baseball.
Okay. I won't get too into it because I don't want to spoil it. And because if you don't know this story is about to pick up in a big way. Like if you don't know the full story of it from next week on, because they're getting to it now. Like, and I listened to a podcast with the director being interviewed. Like it's a podcast I normally listen to anyway because I'm loving all this people being into basketball because I feel like I'm the only basketball fan in Ireland sometimes. But like and the director confirmed it. It's like next week we're getting to all that. So like it's gonna pick up again, like with the 2 episodes next week. It's gonna be like like the director said, it's his 2 favorite episodes of the series are coming up. So it's really good. For what I've got into, I was just watching it literally as we started. I always used to be a snob around like watching people play video games. I was like, what's interesting about that? Like, and now that there's no sport, I'm absolutely addicted to watching Premier League footballers play FIFA, because it's some form of sport, and also I'm really into FIFA as well. So like, it's interesting to see if footballers play it in a different way. If they if their football brain is able to give me some tips for FIFA. So I'm engrossed in it, and it's as good as having sport on. Like it's class, and it's on like from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Like on a Wednesday it was on. So I was watching it during work. It was absolutely deadly. Also as well, I hate watching normal people. Has anyone seen any of these?
No, not yet.
Nope.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing something, but a lot of people love it, so I don't want to shit on it. But I personally find it cringe. It's like 50 Shades, but Irish. And it's like I'm not into it. Like people are going on and it's like it's so realistic. I don't know, maybe I'm missing out, but like I haven't been in any situations where like someone's been like, are you going to start kissing me? And stuff like that, and it gets like dirtier, and it's just like, no, Irish people cannot do this. But like I'm also addicted to it because I've only got time on my hands with the lockdown. So I'm actually I'm gonna watch the whole series even if I'm hate watching it. So they're my 2 things.
I mean, like, not really. Yeah, like, I mean, make videos during the day, play PlayStation at night. The UFC in the middle. I know, again, I've talked about, like, you know, how I'm binging it, but I never thought I'd have the time to kind of watch the reigns of GSP and Anderson Silva and stuff like that. I got to watch, like, a few days ago, Anderson Silva getting knocked out by Weidman, which is really funny if you haven't seen it. It's just like, you've probably seen it from, like, because again, I saw it before without the context behind it, because you'd see, like, on YouTube, showboating compilations gone wrong, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool to kind of, it's like, I knew bits and pieces of the UFC, like, from like today's UFC and early UFC and like bits and pieces in the middle, but watching it all like kind of from 2002 to now, it kind of puts everything together and it puts all the stories kind of in an order and it makes sense now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's hard to explain, but yeah. I don't know. Anyone else get any Phil? Anything you'd expect?
No, apart from training a bit more, but like I'm just focusing on my darts, like improve my darts. And
you forgot about the important thing you have taken up.
What's that?
For the first time ever, you're watching Nitro from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know how I managed to talk him into it. I was like, well, we've got time. Well, I just put it on the first episode there. It's still in 1995, but it's going well so far.
Yeah,
it sounds ecstatic.
It's good. It's a good show. I'm enjoying watching it. Like, definitely stolen some old stuff that I haven't seen in a while. Like, nice. But I'm just waiting for the collapse, because when I first started getting into wrestling properly, like, yeah, I remember watching Hogan and stuff. When I first started watching it properly, it would have been like the start of the Attitude Era, and you would get glimpses of Nitro and WCW, and it just seemed like trash. So I'm gonna enjoy the experience of seeing it just become trash.
Also, the episodes are only 45 minutes long. They're really handy to throw on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nitro eventually went to 3 hours, like Raw did. But like the first couple of years are just 45-minute episodes.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I give out about Nitro for the same reason that I should give out about Raw, about the Attitude Era. Like I'm looking at it saying, like, God, I just want to see it bell to bell. Why is there somebody interfering in this match? And then, like, when I watch back an old episode of, like, Monday Night Raw from 99 or 98, that's all it is interference. And, like, it's Blackman coming down and hitting somebody with the sticks. But I still don't have any hatred for the Fed.
Yeah, your team WWF. Fuck those Alliance boys.
Yeah, I was raised on that. Like,
yeah, I get that. I was the same. Like, if you supported WWF going into the Survivor Series 2001, like, whereas Team WWF and Team Alliance, you're in the squad for life. You're not getting out of that. It's like the mafia, like.
Thanks for the question, Jonathan. Feel free to go back and play some Driver 3 until you like it as much as I do. At FoxNile23, Foxy, we're still on our Foxy drought, by the way. Can we hear some funny road stories, ribs, please? Rick, do you have any?
It's tough, like, Foxy, you know yourself, though, because I'm sure you get this. It's tough when you're just asked, like, give us context, because, like, we need something to unlock it. Like, otherwise it's just like someone saying, tell a joke, and you're just like, ugh, I can't think of any words, never mind jokes. The funniest rib that I was ever a part of got ruined. One time before a show, me and Ballymun Bruiser came up with a deadly prank to play on a guy who was just like, I don't know why, actually, this could have been traumatizing for him, but, like, we put, like, when he picked us up, like, I came out with a black bag full of stuff, and he's like, what's that? I'm like, don't worry about it. And then in the middle of it, we'd planned all this out, like, we stopped off and we're like, just stop off here, and then we got out, went to the back of the booth, pulled out 2 balaclavas and baseball bats, and we just knocked on the door and went, we'll be back in 2 seconds, yeah, don't worry about it. Now, that would have been amazing, because we're just going to run around the back and then just pretend that we did something and then just sprint out and be like, go, go, go. But fucking Bruiser felt bad for him, like, halfway through, like, on the journey, and let him on and just, like, told him. And then so he drove off as soon as he saw the balaclavas, but they were trying to flip the rib on me, and I immediately copped it. I'm like, you told him, didn't you? And he was like, no, I don't know what happened. I'm like, you told him, you're an idiot. That was the best rib ever, and you just ruined it. And now I think the world needs to know this, because, like, that would have been an amazing story if Bruiser didn't ruin it. But we don't have a payoff. Tweet your displeasure at that to @BMunBruiser on Twitter. He ruined it. But yeah, no. Any more funny stories or ribs you can tell? Phil, this is you all over.
No, I tell you what, I'll save it for next week, because I've a limited amount of rib stories, and, like,
he has to run them by me first as well.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, Foxy, I'll try to come up with a rib of the week for you, right?
Unless you want some sort of, like, low blows after dark kind of, you know.
I don't know what Katie has such, like, a angel complex here. Like, it's like these things are PG, and she's all like, oh my god, no, we can't tell that.
I'm not good when there's ribs going on. I'm not good being a part of them. I'm not good being on the receiving end of them. I just get very nervous about the whole thing.
Katie, have you ever ribbed someone?
I don't think so.
Never.
I usually let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, I've tried to bring her in on the rib side of it, and she just lets things slip. Like, we probably had a decent amount of ribs ruined just because Kate.
The only time I think I ever didn't let it out of the bag was when we set up a fake Goldust Twitter account to talk to Be Cool.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, I have a really good rib.
Go on.
And, like, everyone listening might actually enjoy this.
With the Danny one?
No.
Oh.
Aoife one.
What's the Aoife one?
Oh. Should I tell it this week or tell it
I
next
don't know.
week?
You may tell me what it is first.
We'd like to pause for this quick break while Mr. Small Package Phil Boyd gets permission for telling a rib from Katie Harvey.
There's nothing bad about it. This one isn't necessarily, like, ends with, like, embarrassing somebody, right? So when we were, like, before you came on board as GM for Fight Factory, we had decided. So I was Jordan Devlin was the Irish junior heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
I'm texting Jordan and like sort of talking about it, and he says, I can't be there for 2 shows. And he goes, grand, look, we'll look at building contenders then for the next one. We did the grapple games. We came with the grapple games earlier.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and you'll know actually because you were clued in on this.
Yeah.
So we had 5 qualifying matches, and we didn't really tell anyone. So 5 qualifying matches. Lee wins his, Michael wins his, J Money beats me. Who else was in that match? Sammy D bet Be Cool, and the 5th was Jordan went in as champ, and then you're a wild card. I mean, we didn't tell anyone backstage who the wild card was. Right now, a couple of people knew, but most people didn't. Right, and Aoife has her match, or Valkyrie has her match. Right, and I put on the card. Look, regardless, Valkyrie, want you to stay after the match, do the raffle. And Valkyrie's like, yeah, sure, I'll do the raffle, like, sure thing, like, whatever you want. Let's go back to that. Like, whatever the writers want, you just do it, like.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, Aoife was there in the ring, not a breeze, just thinks she's doing a raffle. And then, of course, Rick Nash announces that you're the wild card for the grapple games. And like, Valkyrie has no idea what's going on here. Like, if you watch that, she just puts her arms out with a Tesco bag on her side of it. Right? I was like, this is a bit of a weird reaction. Like, Eva's not like, she's not took this in at all. Like, so I go backstage and like everyone has to explain it to her again. This means you're in the match, the main event of the next show with Jordan Devlin. All right, and then you can see it. You can see the wheels turning ahead, and then, oh my God, and like, she starts crying, so she's like getting excited. She's like, oh my God, I'm about to figure that out there. I would have celebrated a bit more. Like. This match is set, right? We have to rib an Eva big there, like, God, I got a genuine reaction, like, not like ribbing the boys or the girls in the back. So when it comes to the grapple games, right? The weeks leading up to it, like, everyone's like, wow, like, everyone's like, do you think Jordan, like, I'm not going to break out, but just tell them this way, like, everyone's all like predicting the winner down in training, like, is the belt getting kept on Jordan? They think it's going on Michael, think it's going on Lee and stuff like that. Yeah. LJ. And I'm just like completely like favouring everyone. I'm just like, guys, look, Jordan signed on to do the next 3 shows, so I don't really think there's a good idea here to go with the obvious. I think it's better just to keep him the champion. Like, we build another singles contender and we have someone beat him in a singles match, and everyone's bought into it. So I'm like full on line to people now. Like, I'm like, Jordan's retaining and that's it. Like, this is the way it's gonna go. He's gonna win. When it comes to the actual day of the show, so the only people who know, am I breaking kayfabe too much here?
No. It's
breaking kayfabe is like makes my skin crawl. But just to bring us all in, right? So it comes to the day of the show, and the only people who know, were you privy, Rick?
I didn't want to know. So a couple of people came up to me and were like, look, do you want to know? And I was like, no spoilers. So I didn't want it.
Okay, so no one in the match knew. Everyone in the match thought Jordan was going over. Yeah. So much so that the card that I printed and put on the wall had Jordan over. Right, yeah. Jordan on the line. He's going over. So everyone in the back, everyone in every other match thought, right, Jordan's winning. Right, bam. Right. We had made the decision, me and Jordan, 3 months earlier, that the title changes happen, right? We said it was time, right? We said it like, this would be great. It was actually Jordan's suggestion. Nice. Jordan suggested it. He actually said, look, I'd love to be able to put Valkyrie over. Nice. So it was already set in stone. I said, yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's go with it, right? Comes to the day of the show. No one knows, not even Valkyrie, right? We do the whole run through, right? no one's told anything, and it goes, and the grapple game, six person scramble match will main event, right? Referee wasn't even privy to it, all right? It was Katie, because I had to tell her because she's beside me. And in fairness, this was the one secret that Katie kept that I've ever seen her keep, because she's a blubbermouth with everything, right? It's for the whole 2-3 months, right? Jordan knew because it was his idea, and I knew. Now, just before, and I mean just as they were going through the curtain, Michael knew and LJ knew. Right, and that's it. All right, so Sam doesn't know, and Jay Money doesn't know. Right, they're in the match. They all know. As far as they're aware, Jordan's is up. Right. Yeah. This is where the finish went a bit haywire, right? Jordan, I says, look, I don't know about this, man. Like we've got to put her wide, right? Because she's gonna assume you're kicking out. She's gonna proper assume this, so she's gonna make actions as if you're kicked out, right? So sure enough. Comes to the time, right? Jordan's like, no, this will work. I'm telling you, this will work 100%, all right? And so they don't do it they don't even put the match over like a moonsault or something to final like a tombstone. It's like a sunset. It's up over the shoulders into a sunset flip, and that's how she gets the win, right? And I didn't even know this, right? But they put the referee wide just before, going out through the curtain, told him that Jordan pulled him aside. Yeah. And says this is what's happening, right? Now, in fairness to John Whelan, who was the ref at the time, he's probably a bit in shock himself, right? Yeah. And he's probably oh, what the fuck's going on? And he's just sort of agrees to it. But Jordan, apparently, John Whelan has no idea what this move is, because when it comes down to it, and Jordan and they go into this maneuver, and there it is, and it's count 1, 2. John Whelan doesn't count 3 because he's assuming Jordan Devlin's going to kick out. And he doesn't count the 3, and it ends that way. And then he rings the bell, and I was all oh no. And then, of course, regardless of this fuck up, right, which was the worst fuck up. Oh my God, the building was about to explode, right? The emotion in the room was unbelievable. Yeah. The worst thing about it is, we go back to Aoife. Right, who's oblivious to everything, anything. Right, this girl has just become the Irish junior heavyweight champion, and she doesn't even know. She thinks a mistake has happened. Right, she's
and it has, which confuses things even further.
She's like, oh my god, I'm at the pinning Jordan by mistake. I'm at the pinning. So I literally had to roll into the ring and just actually grab her and just start saying, no, look, you're the champ. This is real. And I would already taken off different cards where I'd replaced them as soon as they went out and replaced the cards backstage with Valkyrie's name as up. Nice. Just to show her that this wasn't a botch, this was premeditated. Yeah. But just ribbing Aoife for those 2 or 3 months, completely anything around her. Even going to be in the match, let alone winning the title, was a great win. One of my proudest.
Oh, that's hilarious. What I loved about that, some little things in the middle there, right? So for when I did the announcement, and I think she spoke about this before. Originally, Aoife thought she'd won the raffle, which makes the conversation in the ring that we had even weirder in hindsight, because the fact that I now know she doesn't know, because I turned around to her and I'm like, look, this is Weller and congratulations, you've really worked hard for this. And all of a sudden now I look back and I'm like, she's like, yeah, I won a raffle, I didn't really do anything.
a raffle she never bought a ticket for.
She's like, I think you've got something wrong, sir. Oh, hilarious. Yeah, no, good times. If there's ever a good time to rib someone, it's when they're having their biggest career moments to that day. That was the best. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think that can be topped. So thanks for the question, Foxy. At Stay Safe Rovers, so Declan Byrne comes in with another question. Do you ever wish you were famous? This probably doesn't apply to you because you are famous from wrestling. very loose definition of famous there. It's actually a known fact. Katie Harvey gets stopped in the streets by people being like, "Oh shit, are you former OC Women's Champion who lost to Sami Zayn? Holy shit!" Like after your nationwide appearance, things were never the same. The fame it got to your head, Rick. I have to say, we are famous podcast. But I would love to win the Champions League with Shamrock Rovers or win the World Cup with Ireland. I assume you mean as a player. I also asked Charly Caruso to a Rovers game or to an Irish women's football game when the coronavirus goes. What do you think the chances are she says yes? So 2 questions in there. First of all, do you ever wish you were famous? Now, again, obviously, Rick, as an A-list celebrity, if you could throw that all away and return to normal life, would you?
Well, you know, like as I sit here in my fortune of fame in the front room of my parents' home, I think the thing that I reflect on about fame and fortune. No, I was once out with an ex, and I was walking through town. I don't even know if it was an ex or it was just a date, but anyway, I was walking through town, and it was the weirdest time because it was like the only time I've got like spotted, quote unquote, more than once, and it's probably by people who like have written into this show today. And she turns around and goes, "Oh my God, are you famous?" And I'm like, "No." But the hobbies that I do mean a lot to a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of people. So it's strange. But no, I don't. I'm quite happy with my level of fame, which is non-existent. Well, do you know what, Declan? As far as Charly Caruso goes, they said you never meet Leanne Kiernan, and look, who's laughing now? So
exactly.
Never say
That's
never.
it.
Never give up. John Cena, that shit.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, how have you been dealing with your A-level fame?
Well, I'm getting kind of sick of the Sami Zayn abuse, to be honest. That's probably the downside. I would love to be influencer famous. So have loads of Instagram followers and people send me free shit, but also like you don't get recognized on the street. That's the perfect level of fame. Like free shit.
Influencers, like, often, like, when, at least in my old job, when I worked in Ann Summers, like, influencers came in all the time and all the girls knew who they were. But the problem with that level of fame is people don't feel that you've done anything to deserve it beyond, say, I don't know, being good looking or anything, because you haven't, like, you haven't got a tangible skill beyond just being able to post good pictures on Instagram. So they just bitched about every single one of them. They're like, to see her, that's Jessie Longbottom or whatever. I don't know any influencers. I'm old.
Is that an influence? I don't think.
I don't think Jessie Longbottom is. Like, but, like,
you know what? I would dry my tears with all my free shit, and it would be grand.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's decent.
Yeah, like.
Go for
it. Go on.
I was gonna say, like, one of the weirdest bits of fame I found, like, you know when you're just walking the street and like someone recognise you. Right, my biggest one was we finished training. About a year or 2 years ago, we finished training, and I think it was me, Jay Money, and maybe Owen Richards, but definitely Owen Richards, all decided to go for a beer afterwards, right? So we go for a beer, right? And a beer leads to 2 beers, and 2 beers leads to 3 beers. And then all of a sudden we start talking, like, you know, it's probably one of the first times we ever met up outside training, right? We're there and we're kind of like talking about interests outside the wrestling, like we're starting to figure out different things about each other. And we talk about poker, right? And I was like, oh yeah, I love a game of poker. And Owen Richards was like, yeah, I love poker too. And sure, we're about 6, 7, 8 beers deep at this stage. And we're like, will we go up to the casino? We found out he was a member too, and I was a member. We popped our way up to the Sporting Emporium, and then we go in, like, we played a little bit of blackjack, and I said, look, will we go and play some poker? He goes, yeah, okay, so both of us go up. We're sitting at this poker table, right? And then we're there for about 20, 25 minutes, right? Hands are getting dealt, and like all of a sudden out of nowhere, this guy on the other side just turns around and goes, excuse me, are you Mr. Small Package? And immediately I was straight away like, well, Yes. And I'm right with him, by the way. And he can't believe this. He is dumbfounded. He's like, because I'm like, still trying to big up to the boys. Yeah, boys, I've done everything. I've been to Japan. I've wrestled in Corrigan Hall. I've been on TV in multiple countries. I'm more renowned. And this guy out of nowhere recognized me and goes like, "He's just small package." And I goes, "Oh yeah, I am. Yeah. How'd you know that?" And he goes, "Oh, my son's a trainee." The bubble just burst. I was like, "Shit."
I love that. That's hilarious.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, no, with Fame, I'd love to be kind of similar to what Katie said. I'd like to be YouTube famous, if that makes sense. I'd like the opportunities that come with fame. I'd like the money that comes with fame. I don't like the whole being recognized on the street and autographs and pictures and all that sort of shit. You know what I mean? Because I don't really like going out as it is. You know what I mean? So the idea of loads of social interactions on very no notice, it doesn't really sound great to me. But the idea of putting a video out and thousands of people watching and you know what I mean, being having a voice as well. You know what I mean? If you have an opinion or something you want to get across on Twitter, something that you're passionate about, no matter what you tweet, thousands of people seeing it and retweeting it and sharing it. You know what I mean? A lot of power comes with it. You know what I mean? If you need it. I think there's benefits to fame, and I think the benefits, depending on the sort of fame, could outweigh the detriments. So maybe, yeah. In terms of your Charly Caruso question, I think the Tallaght Stadium is a really that's what sells it. You know what I mean? I'd say there's a 0% chance she doesn't want to do it. It's more so she might be a bit too busy. So really, it's a 50-50 chance, is what I'd say. But I do hope it goes well, and I hope you and Charly Caruso have loads of fun if she does decide to go and see a Rovers game or an Irish women's football game. But yeah, thanks for the question, Declan.
Good luck, Declan.
I am Afi. I don't know how to pronounce that.
That sounds about right.
Cian has promised us some SHYTE Wrestling for a while now. When will it finally be debuting? There's about a 20% chance I do something with it over the lockdown, but it's a lot of effort. So I'm not gonna say, oh, I'll do it. I might not, but I might. I don't know. We'll see. But if at all, it'll be during the lockdown. That's, I suppose, I'll say. Thanks for the question. At Sean McSarron, if you could only watch wrestling from a single year for the next 3 years, this is actually an interesting question. Which year would you pick? Also, I can't think of who's the OTT Women's Champion right now and who they beat for it. Any help with that information? I'm going to go... Kate, you're an OTT roster member. Who's the champion?
Not me.
It isn't. But I'll go back to question number one. If you could only watch wrestling from 1 year, I'm gonna assume that this year wouldn't be it. Although I suppose for everyone it wouldn't be it because wrestling kind of stopped. What would be your year then? Would it be WCW, peak WCW, or what is it?
I don't know, because I can't put matches and shows into the year they happened. It just doesn't happen in my brain.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe the tail end of WCW, because then you've got but then you've only got two promotions. Or if you take a recent year, you've got AEW, you've got OTT, you've got all the indies, you've got loads more.
My answer's last year, to be honest. That's my answer, because you've got Devlin Walter, Devlin Starr in OTT. Even in Fight Factory, you've got the winner take all match. In WWE, you have Becky winning the Royal Rumble. You have Eric Rowan beating fucking Roman Reigns. You've got fucking NWA Power. You know what I mean? You've got loads of there's a huge variety there. You know what I mean? So yeah, for that reason, and just because a lot of my favorite matches happened, I'd honestly go with last year.
Interesting.
But 2007 comes second because John Cena and the Great Khali and all that good stuff. But I would probably go with 2019 overall.
What's the year Daniel Bryan became champion at Mania?
Oh,
2014.
2014.
I might pick that then. I just remember that being a really good year, and I remember doing lots of fun PWU shows and stuff then.
And the Shield was that year. The Shield versus Evolution and all that. That was a good year. That's when I got back into WWE.
Ooh,
I'll pick that then. I love Evolution, love Daniel Bryan. I'll pick that.
nice.
You've also got Impact Destination America era, I think. Was that 2014? Dixie Carter getting fucking powerbombed through the table. Fun times. Yeah.
Nice. For me, there's a correct answer to this. As far no, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but as far as I'm concerned, the year 2000. For me, because it's everything at its peak. WWE are at their best. ECW are amazing. Like, every show they're putting on is like breaking wrestling all over again. Remember, ECW didn't go out of business because they got bad. Their quality never dipped with them. And 2000 was them at their peak because they were having monthly pay-per-view shows as well as great TV every week. And also as well, WCW is at the tail end that Phil is watching for. It's an absolute shit show at this stage. This is the year where like Vince Russo was coming out at the Bash of the Beach and cutting a shoot promo on Hogan about how he's the booker, and it's just an absolute train wreck to watch. So following that, like week by week, that sounds amazing. So it'd be the year 2000 for me on all fronts, and I don't think it's particularly difficult.
That's actually a solid argument. And to be honest, I'm actually very interested to see what everyone else's year is. You know, for like, so tweet us in. Phil, do you have a year?
No.
No wrestling. The year is 0.
Anything after the territories is trash.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. Okay. Where am I now? At Riley Conlon. Thanks for the question, Sean, by the way. Hey, Phil and Katie. What has been your favourite Fight Factory show so far?
Pick between your children.
I have a clear favourite. It's the Gresh show.
Oh.
Like, for me, that was everything we'd built.
Oh my god, yeah.
And kind of came to a crescendo. I remember the stress leading into that show. I remember like just putting so much work into it, and then like, you know, when you have that feeling in the pit of your stomach, like, is this going to work or not? And then it did work, and we had a great crowd, and Michael and Jonathan Gresham had one of my favourite matches that I've ever seen live. And this, sorry to bring it up again, guys, I know you'll go mad at me, this was in the midst of me recovering from my broken arms too. So it's fun. I was not as hands-on as I could have been with some of the stuff.
So, like, to talk about that Gresh show, right? And I oh my god, again, I'm name dropping or like bigging myself up. But I met Gresh in Japan, right? And I've known him on and off for the last little while since 2012. And like, when I first met him and heard about him in Japan, like, I was amazed at what he could do. I was like, this is brilliant. And when we finally started talking about the idea, because obviously Michael May was a big fan of him, and when we start talking about, like, look, there's a chance, lad. Like, I know Gresh, like, I can ask him.
We'd had him for a few training sessions.
Well, we had him for a seminar, like, years before this, like, twice.
Twice, yeah.
Like, I'm not being joking. For the 2 days we got, he charged pittance, like in comparison to what things are costing these days. Yeah. Right? This was not the case this time around, right? Gresh cost a fortune, right? Like, I'm not going to go into exact details, but he was not cheap. He was not cheap personally. He got paid well, right? Like, much better than I've ever got paid for any gig, or maybe only 3 gigs put together.
He was pretty exclusive to us. He only did 2 shows on that entire trip over to Europe.
Jesus.
Here was the other thing about the Gresh thing that no one knew, is that when we started putting it together, obviously it was a lot of money, and again, we don't work with the big budget of the other company in Dublin, but we work off a very small show-to-show budget. So when I was like, this is going to cost us a mint. Like when I looked at flights, and flights were costing all in $1,200 to get him from Atlanta, Georgia to Dublin to London back to Atlanta, Georgia. Jesus. Right. So I got in with he had put me in touch with a lad in the UK. Again, I won't name and shame, but apparently there's going to be 4 of us going in there, so it's going to cost £300 in flights each, which I said, grand. On top of the Gresh thing, I says, that's manageable, right? Turns out two of the other lads pulled in. After we had got video packages made up, like I already told Michael May, like I'm like, you've got this match. This match is happening, right? Like, right. So I'm already set in stone with the boys. Like, I'm like, two lads pull out, and suddenly it's 600 quid each for the flights. The other UK lad who we wrestled for that weekend turns around and goes, I'm not going to pay any more than 300 quid for these flights. He says he can't afford it, basically, which is bull. Like I thought it was bull, but like either way, it was a case of like either pay you another 300 quid or scrap everything altogether. We had already got the GG media video made and put out there, like, so it ended up costing me 900 quid in flights to get that guy from America. It cost the UK from over 300 quid. So it was 900 quid plus what we paid Gresh, plus like all the other expenses that goes into shows. And I was stressed to bits because the way, and this is why I beg people, if everyone is going to come to a 5 show, just please get an Eventbrite ticket. Because at least I know then I'm not going to lose my arse on it. And if I have more cash, I can put more cash into it. But like pre-sales were not matching up to like what we had already invested. And I was all like, oh, this is like, that was the most stressful thing. But at the end of the day, the show was great. Like the crowd came, it was like we made the money back, and Michael May and Gresh got to have a fucking great match in the Big Sean. And to me, that's why that show is like one of the top shows you've ever did, just because it could have easily went the other way. But it just came together at the end, like a great plan comes together.
Yeah, it was real kind of against all odds feeling.
Yeah. The crowd came in, like, but I particularly love episode 3 as well. For any other reason that we hadn't sold out the Big Sean for the first 2 shows. Like we had an okay crowd for the first one, okay crowd for the second one, but there was still seating. And then I was going to episode 3 and I was like, oh my god, this is kind of where the dip comes from friends and family. Like they've seen their mates wrestle twice now, they don't see them wrestle a third time. Like all of a sudden then I'm backstage and lads come running in saying like, we need more chairs. We have to take all the chairs out of the locker room and put them outside. And to me, that was like, and everyone backstage as well was like, this is fucking awesome. Like this is the biggest crowd we've ever done. Like, and like you could feel the vibe of everybody backstage of like because we had to take the chairs that they were all sitting on. They were all excited to wrestle in front of that bigger crowd. So I particularly liked episode 3 as well. Nice. I felt like that was the real sort of positive spin of like, yeah, guys, like we're doing good here, you know.
Yeah, and like just to back that up, like in terms of kind of like for people who are like hearing about like more kind of like crowd talk than everything else, like obviously the wrestling speaks for itself, but I can totally relate to what you're saying in terms of like when you put when there's a risk there, or when you put a lot of work in, and especially like as well tickets for anything but OTT these days, and we're the exact same with Low Blows. Like you don't know what you're getting until the night, because everyone basically like there's so much cost involved, and it's fine, like, but there's so much cost involved with OTT because they book so far in advance and they pre-sell and tickets sell out, so people have to buy tickets there, that people have to decide on the day. It's just the nature of like the market in Ireland now, so it adds to that stress, but that stress paying off and then getting a show on top of it. Like I remember I really like watching wrestling, especially Fight Factory shows with Phil and Katie around, because you're so invested in it. I'll never forget, Phil, just you were proper buzzing for the Jonathan Gresham thing. I remember, what I'll always remember,
I didn't wrestle on that show for that reason.
Yeah, you were just like, you were proper like in fan mode, and it was awesome to see, because it made me get like, I was in fan mode, but it made me even get more excited. You know what, that infectious kind of, when someone else is like buzzing for it, then you get it as well. I remember, just to kind of illustrate it from my own personal experience, when we were doing the ring intros, the microphone went for a bit, but what happened there was Phil is getting amped, and you just like turn the volume up because you're like, yeah, And then I was like, no, turn the volume down. It's like it's after blowing the speakers. But you're like, fucking do it, let's do it. Like, and I was like, I was buzzing off you like the entire match. And you just turned around just going like, this is fucking great. I was like, yes, this is class. So like, I could feel that like in you. And the stress and then getting that payoff, that's the best feeling ever. That's the type of thing that's like why you get into it for. Like, so yeah, that's an awesome story.
I just want to add on, like I mentioned a few personal like business details about Gresh. I would have Gresh back in a heartbeat. He's a consummate professional. I would love to have him back in Fight Factory if it can be done.
He did a seminar with us the next day, and it's one of my favourite ones I've ever
sound. Yeah, and he's sound, and whatever money we paid for him, I would pay double. That's how good he was to have backstage and stuff like that. Like,
do you know when you get like imports come in and the second they enter the room, you know they're there? You know what I mean? And it's not even a bad thing. It's just people have a presence about them and stuff. The thing that struck me about Gresh was that you didn't notice he was there because he was so like laid back and so chilled and so not trying to make a big deal out of himself. Do you know what I mean? And that's what kind of struck me with first impressions. I was like, this is just the nicest guy ever because he's not seeing himself as like this big fancy fucking import. And he had every right to swing his Mickey around the Big Sean. You know what I mean? But he just didn't. Like that was like a testament for the guy, I have to say.
Well, thanks for the question, man. I don't know. I've done the ad, really. It was a great show. Loved it. Actually, that was the first show I commentated. Hey. Yeah, that was dead, actually. Yeah, no, that was dead. I loved it. Yeah, thanks for the question. At Brian the Maniac, out of all the participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match this year, who's most likely to announce their cash-in advance, like when Rob Van Dam did it, if they won? Right. So I have the list here of who's in it because I didn't know. Is it this Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, I can't wait for this weekend. UFC 249 on Saturday and Money in the Bank on Sunday. I'm staying up and having Zoom parties for both of them.
Right. I have a question. Is it true that the two Money in the Bank matches are going to happen simultaneously?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So they're not ladder matches. Do you not know this?
I heard bits and pieces, but I don't think I fully get the concept.
So it's a movie. It's a Lucha Underground type movie where it's they're not taking place in the Performance Center. They're taking place in WWE headquarters. Okay, and they're at the same time, so I'm guessing that they're going to run throughout the entire show. Like it's going to be like big budget Justy versus Owen Richards at Trinity Brawl. You know what I mean?
Right, I'm watching it.
And the two of them are going to run at the same time throughout the show. And the goal is you have to start at the bottom of WWE headquarters, and you have to get to the roof where the ring is and the ladders will be, and then it's a ladder match once they get to the roof.
But having a triple cage match was ridiculous, yeah?
I'm well watching this, but okay.
We're in the middle of a pandemic, right? And they're trying to just give us a product that we might be enjoying, right? During these difficult times. People are dying, Katie.
Did you remember this was on up until 5 seconds ago?
Well, no, of course not.
God, no.
So the real, shoe work in this, it's the first one to the lift wins, really. Lift, top floor, please.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Do you remember the old WWF Attitude Got It ad where they're walking through WWE headquarters and there's just absolute murder breaking out? I'm thinking it's going to be a 3-hour version of that. And I'm all up for that. That ad was fucking class. That was my childhood.
Are they going to send all the normal workers home before the big fight happens, or are they just going to be working around the fight?
I think it's going to be abandoned. I think
I hope one person gets super kicked with loads of paper in their hands and the paper goes everywhere. That's all I want to see. That's once we get that, I'm happy.
I will stay up until 4 a.m. to watch this, and if someone gets super kicked with paper in their hands, it was worth every second of this.
I genuinely hope there's just that one guy who's like, I'm so behind, guys. I was told about a few hours ago, but I've got deadlines. I've got to get this done. Please. No, I'm almost finished. Oh no!
Oh, amazing! Yeah,
right.
It's going to be interesting, and it's going to give us something to talk about at the very least.
I will watch that, right? So the two Money in the Bank matches, the women's one first, right? Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella, who is most likely out of those six to announce, that was six, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To announce their cash in advance.
Shayna to challenge Becky.
Asuka.
But
none of them will do it, though.
I think Dana Brooke would. I think she'd be like, do you know what? I'm going to do the honourable thing. I'm going to cash in on main event next week, and this is where it's going down. You could kind of, I can see most people in that. Carmella's the only one where I'm like, no, she would cash in the usual way. Everyone else, I'm kind of like, I can imagine them doing both. Like Shayna, I could easily see taking advantage of an opportunity and beating Becky that way. That's I think, and that's probably the likely option. Yeah. But I could also imagine her saying, "Fuck you, I'm cashing in next week. Get ready." You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's multiple. Yeah, that's the women's one's a bit tougher. The men's, I have a 100% answer for. Right. Okay. It's Daniel Bryan versus Rey Mysterio versus Aleister Black versus Corbin versus Otis versus AJ Styles, and my answer with what he's doing now is Daniel Bryan. Yeah. Like, because he's already done the traditional cash in, you know what I mean? So, I think I think he's currently with his, like, babyface kind of wrestler, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Even though Rey Mysterio's, a good guy, there's nothing wrong with, like, a good guy can cash in and take his moment, you know what I mean? I can imagine Rey Mysterio taking advantage of the opportunity. Corbin would absolutely be a snake. Aleister Black is someone who I think would cash in the usual way. But the way I think, this is what I want to see happen, right? I want Aleister Black to win it, but I want his cash in to be really fucking cool. So, like, it's done in like a, again, catching someone off guard type way, but it's done in like the lights go off and like the music play, you know what I mean? Like it's done in a kind of cool way, you know what I mean? But it's still not him announcing it in advance. So my pick is Daniel Bryan. Yeah, that's a solid pick. I'll second that.
Yeah.
Katie, what's your pick?
Yeah, Daniel Bryan.
Did
he not do it before?
He did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2013.
Well, he announced in advance he was going to cash it in. No. He definitely did once. He said he was going to, and then he never did.
Oh no, because he won it a second time, didn't he? And then he got injured.
When Daniel Bryan had the title, had the briefcase, he said he was going to cash in the main event of WrestleMania. Yes. But he ended up cashing in on Big Show at one of the pay-per-views.
I think it was on like a SmackDown. I think, because that kind of made it. Like, because it was like, that's the opposite of WrestleMania, you asshole.
He was so close. We were so close to Mania as well. Like, I think we were in Rumble season or something.
Yeah. Very true. That's a good one. I'd sign off on Daniel Bryan. That seems legit.
Yeah, it was an interesting question though. Thank you. At Killer Steve W, what subjects would you like to see covered on Dark Side of the Ring in future? This is an interesting one. I have an answer. But do either of you have anything you want to see on there?
No, well, I do, but go for it if you have an answer.
No, it's not like. It's kind of just, I don't know how you do it because there's so much of it. But I'd love to see kind of like a bullying type thing. You know what I mean? Or like how, like you could use Bill DeMott maybe as an example, but I feel like there's like Bill DeMott is the name that popped into my head first. I'd love to see, a Dark Side of the Ring on Bill DeMott, but I feel like there was so many Bill DeMotts over the years that like you don't know. Like I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but like I don't know. I think there's something about bullying backstage or something like that, or something on like Chris Canyon or something like, you know what I mean? Like this, or Muhammad Hassan, or like, you know what I mean? I think there's certain, you can probably do a whole series on it, you know what I mean? So something along those lines. Also, I don't know if, would it qualify for a Dark Side of the Ring? Phil just mentioned the territories earlier, but like the death of the territories.
That'd be a great one. Like, I don't think there's ever actually been an objective one done, like how Vince took over all of wrestling, like, because it was a great business move, and he kind of did it as well with Brit Rest now. Like, he just repeated the move with how to kill Brit Rest, and it's kind of worked, or it's in the process of working. Like, so that'd be a great one. Like, even just for the perspective now of history repeating itself. Do you know what I mean? I think we'd be like, oh, this is so like today, so it'd be timely. It'd be interesting.
I would have one on Mike Awesome, and I would have it on the feeling when he was leaving ECW to jump to WCW, and the whole shenanigans about the belt and all the tension going on there. And then the fact when he jumped to WCW, he ended up as like the fat chick Thriller, that 70s guy. And then even when WWE bought them out, he still like obviously didn't make it, and then obviously had such a like horrible end. Should have been one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely like a story that should be told there about like what happened.
Like Dark Side, that's a great show. That's a really good, and it's like an under the radar story. It's kind of like Dino Bravo, the one they did on his murder, where it doesn't get talked about a lot, but there's definitely a story there, and we don't know what it is. So their bit of digging could help us out. Like, the thing is, like, I like Dark Side of the Ring. It's an entertaining show. It's interesting and they're well made. But the problem I have with it is it depresses me. I put up a tweet a few weeks ago where it was like the series finale of Dark Side of the Ring will be us all saying fuck wrestling and finding a new hobby, because we're all just like, this business is horrible. That seems to be the point they reinforce every week, like, where it's just like, oh my god, these people are all awful, and I feel horrible for liking and supporting this, like, because they make it, like, the problem is they're good at their job and they make a convincing case against wrestling ultimately, and they're not attacking wrestling, they're fans, you can tell, like, they know their shit, like, but it's just they're telling true depressing stories, like, so that's the only thing. But it's not a criticism of it, the stories are there to be told and they do it in an interesting way, so I'll still watch. One thing that I do want to know more on, I definitely want to know how I should feel about this, is the report, and how they go about it. I don't know. I don't think they'd be able to get enough access to be able to do it and to fill an hour. But the rumors about Macho Man and Stephanie, I want to know if I'm allowed like Macho Man. I don't want to have this asterisk in my head because he's like one of my top 5 ever. And like there's just this. But was he a pedo? You know what I mean? There's just that, and it's like, it could be complete bollocks. It could be absolute horseshit. All the official signs of it, all the official discussion of it is like, nah, it's horseshit. But like, they used to say that about Jimmy Snuka, and like, turns out, well, it's pretty fucking true. So I don't know, like, but I don't know how they do it. I don't think it's possible, but like, I would like to like have my feelings one way or another confirmed on Macho Man, and how valid those rumors are, because they've been around for decades at this stage.
See, the one thing I'd say about your argument there about like I don't really like. I'm the same as you. I don't really like Dark Side of the Ring. Right, I watched the Benoit thing, and it was interesting, but again, it just brought a shadow over wrestling. Right, like I told the Valkyrie story earlier. I'm like, the Valkyrie story was fun, like, and the Gresh show was fun, and there's so much fun that happens in wrestling. We never discuss the fun parts of it. Yeah. Everyone wants to discuss the shitty part of it, and like, when we talk about, it's such a negative thing, wrestling's so negative. Yeah. Like, why? Because when we do something positive, you don't talk about the positive stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, we legitimately had Mike Quackenbush on the show, originally booked, all right, and like, all right, it wasn't my decision to have him over, but like, we had Quackbush, and like, we had people actually complaining because they were in Germany, saying like, oh, Fight Factory are super fucks, this, that, and this, and like, I was like, Christ almighty, like, we're doing a positive thing here, like, yeah. I'm sorry to suit your schedule, but like, why are we such bastards for doing this? Like, like, why are you hopping on us here for this? Like, you'd swear like you don't want us to have Quack on the show. Like, yeah. And I was just so baffled by it all. Like, seeing these, and it wasn't a lot of people. It was just 1 or 2 people. And I was like, you're just miserable people. Like, it must be. Why can you not see the positive in that? Like, instead you just want to take something down, and like, but again, people always want to see the negative in a lot of things that happens in wrestling. And yeah, Dark Side of the Ring, I'd like to see Light Side of the Ring. That's actually genuinely fun, because wrestling is majority fun, but the shitty side of it gets more exposure or get more likes or more retweets if you focus on something that's negative, like, you know.
Cian, for this video, can you make Light Side of the Ring just for Phil?
That's hilarious.
Light Side of the Ring. Well, I'll think about it.
That's a video right there. Like that's if you don't do that next week, someone else is gonna 100%.
So basically, I actually love Dark Side of the Ring. I think it's I think like some of the things they make are very, very necessary. Like when you look at Jimmy Snuka, like I've always heard the rumors of Jimmy Snuka, murdering someone, but it's not something I ever looked into. It's not something I ever thought about because Jimmy Snuka was never really a relevant character to me because it was, an era before my time. And after watching that, I'm like, holy fucking shit! Like, I think everybody should know about stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I looked. Did you watch the Jimmy Snuka episode?
Yeah.
Do you know what I found fascinating?
What?
Just a little side note was when was it the Tonga kid? Is that the lad who got interviewed, his friend?
Yeah, Tonga Kid was in it,
Yeah. When he revealed to the camera that he was in the car the whole time.
yes.
And then it sunk in what he'd actually, like, what he just said. And he was like, you get the real, it was like they're doing an investigation while doing do you know what I mean? Like, and then getting the policeman in and all that. I'm like, oh, it was really well. I know, like, I understand what people might find it depressing and all that, but I think, I just think it's necessary. I think it's necessary to allow people to tell their story, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't disagree. Because the flip side of that is, like, when we didn't know these stories, we spent decades lionising the likes of Jimmy Snuka and Fabulous Moolah, and they were celebrated on TV when they had done all these things. So that's not a better solution. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you're right not to say, like, because these were horrible people, so it deserves to be out there. It's just like every week, like, it just feels like when it's on, it's reinforcing it's horrible and wrestling is this horrible thing and it's out there so publicly and it's doing well, and it's like, I'm a bit like Phil where I'm like, no, it's good sometimes too, like, we like it for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Right, well, I'll make light side of the ring.
Yeah.
Well, that was no, interesting question. Thanks for the question, Killer. At Kento CCFC, an interesting question here, right? Instead of a magic scalpel and knife, you've now got a special history eraser. Get rid of one of the big 4 WWE pay-per-views from history and the current calendar. Whichever you pick, none of those shows ever happened. Which do you choose? And, right, let's just be honest, right? It's SummerSlam or Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assumption? Yeah. You're not going to get rid of the Rumble. You're not getting rid of Mania. So which of either SummerSlam or Survivor Series do you choose to get rid of?
SummerSlam.
I thought of this a lot. I do have an answer. Right. So my answer, right, initially was SummerSlam. Straight away, I'm like, this is fucking easy, yeah? Like, first of all, not Rumble, not Mania, and then you've got Survivor Series, which is, you've got, as you mentioned earlier, 2001, WWF versus the Alliance. You've got 2014, one of my personal favorites, Team Authority versus Team Cena. I loved it to bits. Countless Raw versus SmackDowns. I loved to bits. The one where they went under siege, the one where Becky ended up getting busted up and all that. Like, there's so many cool Survivor Series, like fun Survivor Series matches.
This year, NXT.
Well, this year.
Yeah, NXT.
Yeah, like there's loads of good ones.
That was in the height of AEW as well, and everyone was like, wow, WWE is cool. Like,
yeah.
Well, but here's the big thing, right? For me, if we get rid of SummerSlam, and this is the only reason I might have to get rid of Survivor Series instead, is Becky Lynch turning heel on Charlotte and beginning that run as the man. Would that run have happened if that didn't happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you have history.
And that to me is enough to warrant getting rid of Survivor Series. As much as I fucking love Survivor Series, that was so cool to see Becky on top.
Counter argument?
Right.
Montreal Screwjob.
It's a good thing if that never happened. Then Bret Hart leads a happy life.
Actually, you see, the Montreal... Actually, wait.
Doesn't happen. WWE go out of business.
The Attitude Era doesn't happen.
The Attitude Era doesn't
happen. And all it took was him accidentally pointing at a cameraman from beyond the mat and launched the Attitude Era.
The fake Vince McMahon pointing at a cameraman. You swung it back. Okay, so for history, SummerSlam, I would rewatch far more SummerSlams than I would Survivor Series. But if we're talking about future and we're talking about, and that's the only way I can think of it in terms of, because like I watch more current wrestling than I do past wrestling. So ultimately I'm going to make a decision on what I want to watch in the future. And Survivor Series has a gimmick. There's something there that we'd miss and we'd be lacking if we didn't have Survivor Series matches. It would affect wrestling as a whole if the Survivor Series match wasn't a part of wrestling, though someone probably would have came up with it if we're being honest. But at the same time, it's such a staple part of wrestling. It's like losing a light Royal Rumble. Do you know what I mean? Whereas SummerSlam doesn't have that, like there's no gimmick to SummerSlam. It's just a big event that's on the summer. You know what I mean?
Something to fill up the calendar between WrestleMania.
But it's got some of the biggest matches of all time.
Yeah, you got Brock Lesnar winning the title for the first time. You got Mick Foley, Triple H, and The Rock with
yes.
Yeah, but you've also got the Nexus using Cena.
You've got Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, there's good matches at SummerSlam, but to take, like we're talking about, we're not saying SummerSlam isn't good. We're just saying if one has to go, it gotta beat that.
Here's another one, right? Survivor Series 2002, the first Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
So
here's how I kind of judge what here's how I weigh up and decide based on what you're saying, Keith, about losing, say, Becky, and if we're losing all of those things. Did any of those great moments happen because it was SummerSlam? Like great Royal Rumble matches happened because it was the Royal Rumble. Great WrestleMania matches happened because it was WrestleMania. The Elimination Chamber, part of the creation of that was it's an elimination style match on an elimination style pay-per-view in Survivor Series. All of those matches happened because they were all great wrestlers at a great time. So if that pay-per-view was fully loaded and you still had those wrestlers in it, it still would have happened. None of it happened because of SummerSlam. So if you lose SummerSlam, you still probably get all of the cool things happening. It's just at a no-name pay-per-view. But if you lose Survivor Series, you lose a lot more. You lose something fundamentally integral to the way we watch wrestling.
Perfect.
So if Survivor Series hadn't died and it never happened, we would have never been blessed with the royal family versus Clowns or Us from Survivor Series 1994. I'm going to put that out there, right? That match would have never happened. We would have never seen Jerry Lawler and his court versus Doink and all his mini clowns. So,
I think we've swung this fully.
Right, unanimous decision. We're all getting rid of SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Does it matter if I don't agree?
No, you agree. Come on, think about it.
No,
go. Future.
Okay, fine, I'll agree.
No, go, say your opinion.
Say your opinion. Stop being a sheep.
Jesus.
Talk me round. I would have been dead set about getting rid of Survivor Series, but yeah.
I love the peer pressure. It's just like, come on, Katie, do the cool thing.
Like, if
I also really just want to get to the next question because I want Phil's reaction.
This is
excellent.
At Irish Slam Dan. Oh man, what have you done here? Right. So for those of you, right, it's a chart. So we're given €20 to make the best team, right? And we're given a maximum of 5 people. In the 10, so they're divided into tiers. So the tier, first of all, it takes up a tenner, right? Half your income slashed. Is Michael May, LJ Cleary, Jordan Devlin, Valkyrie, or B Kill. If you pick one of them, that's half your money gone, and you have to decide how to basically spend it to make the best team. But in the fiver tier, right? So 25% of your whole income gone. You can get Katie Harvey, who lost last January her women's title to Sami Zayn. Or you can get Irish Junior Heavyweight Champion Flamboyant Fabio, Liam Royal, Debbie Keitel, or the real deal Anthony Steele.
Bargain.
For €2. Oh, by the way, this gets very controversial. For €2, you could get Justin Daniels, Justy, Raven Creed, John Guinness, or Big Rab. For €1. So if there wasn't a 5-person limit, you could get loads of these wrestlers because this is the bottom tier that Dan has decided to put these wrestlers on. Dom Tuck, Connor Day, CBL, J Money, and Mr. Small Package, Phil Boyd.
What's worse, being on the bottom tier or just not being in it?
Like Sammy Zayn. That's crazy to me.
Like, it's not every wrestler. It's just a random
it's
term.
not necessarily saying they're the best. It's just his chosen wrestlers.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil, would you have taken more offence to being left out than being €1?
No, I'm taking more offence to being €1.
Yeah. Because you can tell yourself that you were €10 otherwise.
Yeah.
I can tell you why, because I've trained 16 of those people. And I'm getting compared to a tenth of those, like. A tenth of them, which is crazy. You know what, Dan? You really made a fucking enemy out of me now, I can tell you that. I see the questions coming in, and I don't really read them because I'd rather give honest opinions on the spot. But I saw this earlier in the week, and you've had me angry now for a couple of days. I don't know about this, right? I am furious. Raven Creed is double my value. Like, I'm sorry, like no, and Sean, why is Sean? All right, I'll tell you what, forget this. All right, Justy is only €2, which is an outrage in itself. Sean Guinness is only €2, which is an outrage in itself. Right. CBL has had, and I love CBL, right? CBL has had about, I don't know, a handful of matches. I've wrestled fucking in Corrigan Hall twice. I'm fucking wrestling Canada, wrestling 13 different countries. Like, I'm not putting me on the same value as CBL. Like, I'm outraged. Like, not only that, I'm a tenth of the value of LJ Clary. I'm a tenth of the value of LJ. I taught LJ Clary everything he fucking knows.
Yeah. All right. But just a counter argument, just so Dan doesn't, get killed. Do you win more than the people who are like above you on this tier? Like you mentioned, Raven Creed. Raven Creed won a title in the last, what was it, a year or two?
I'll tell you the truth, I shouldn't have mentioned Raven because, I can say the same about Justin Daniels, I say the same about Rob, I say the same about Andy Steele, Debbie Cartel, Liam Ross, Bobby,
everyone else.
Particularly, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not knocking what the other people have achieved. I'm just saying that I am a better wrestler than fucking €1 than the €1 tier. Right. I'll take the €1 tier and I'll lead a team against the €10 tier and we'll kick the bollocks out of them. And I'll tell you that for a fact. You can book that on your Survivor Series show for show.
I feel like Dom Tuck is going to eat a pin and let the whole €1 tier down there.
It's Survivor Series, I think.
Oh, fair.
Well, now we get down to the business. Rick, what is your chosen team?
I'm going to pick Phil Boyd for €1 anyway, that's for sure. I'm going to pick Raven Creed and Sean Guinness. That brings you up to 5. For €5, I think the obvious choice is here. Like, there's only one I could really put on this team. It'd have to be Liam Royal, and then Jordan Devlin would be the €10 pick. I think that's a solid team.
Oh, fuck! Oh man, Katie, do you have a team chosen?
I can choose one. Okay, I'm going to pick Phil, obviously.
It's
obvious, yeah. If you're making a team for a show, I think you'd be crazy to leave Justy off any team. Because Justy fits in anywhere. Justy can go in your opener, Justy can go in your main event, Justy will set your ring up. He'll shout at you while he's doing it, but he'll make sure everything runs smoothly. So what's that, €3?
Yeah, you're at 3.
Okay, I'm going to go Andy Steele. And I'm going to go LJ Cleary. What's that bring me to?
18, so you have €2 left.
That's one full tube of Pringles, by the way. So you can like, how many people do you have?
4. Okay, I'll go Sean Guinness as well.
You could have not picked Sean Guinness and got a tube of Pringles for the team. Like, that sounds
that was a bad move.
It sounds like a fun day, like.
I'd like to think Sean Guinness's value is worth more than a tub of Pringles.
I'm not arguing.
Well, according to Dan, it isn't. Dan White.
Yeah, let's put this back on Dan.
This is one of the best questions we've ever been asked.
I'm so angry. You know what? It's my own fault. It is actually my own fault. Right? My own fault. I should be actually burying these people. I should be just getting out there and just burying them. Like I could do on any day of the week. Like just I can't believe it. I can't believe how much he's discriminating against the old guard. Like.
Oh, amazing.
Rusty and Sean Guinness too. That's crazy.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing.
€5 here, like.
Right. So now I have to build my team. It's a difficult one. I'm trying to do the maths. Maths is not my strong suit. I once got 9% and kicked out of a higher level maths class. So there you go. So bear with me on this because I'm trying to do the maths and it's all adding up to 21. I'm like, no, can't do it. See, a tenner. I think I might abandon the whole €10 fucking tier because that's like
you're not gonna have a team with LJ.
Well, it's a tenner. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like, all right, hang on, let me see.
Everybody's got a price.
If I go LJ, Liam Royal, Cleary Cartel Reunion, yep. Raven Creed, what's that now? That's 7?
Yeah, 17.
7.
17. You've €3
Oh,
left.
17. Oh, but the fucking 03 are €4. Fuck, right. I'm going to go Connor Day in case you get thrown into a battle royal. You know what I mean? Like, we have an over-the-top rope elimination match.
You want to know something, Cian. This fucking quarantine, this, like, social distancing is going to end, and it will end soon. I want you to know that.
Okay, we have... LJ Cleary, Liam Royal, Raven Creed, Connor Day. CBL has some really good ham sandwiches, so... Jay Money, I mean, he's rich. He's the 03 are about like favourites somewhat. Phil Boyd, right? Fine, I pick Phil Boyd. So, LJ, Liam Royal, Raven Creed, Connor Day, and Phil Boyd is my team. So, yeah, whose team wins?
Phil, what's your team?
Oh yeah, shit.
I put you on my team.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
Can I actually substitute Phil for CBL then?
Oh, controversial.
Too soon.
I don't even touch anyone on the top 2 tiers.
Hey.
I'm going to go Justin, Sean Guinness, Justin Daniels and Rob as my tag team, and then your captain being obviously myself. Fucking brilliant. No, leave myself off it, and it's I've got 4 superstars there for €8, so I can cherry pick anybody I want, and then I'll need a female, so I'll go. Oh, who will I go for my female?
You?
Is Amy London? No, Amy London's not on it. No, look, I don't pick between my boys. My boys got enough to worry about.
Well,
great question, Dad.
Who wins? But yeah, genuinely one of my favourite questions ever. I'm up for more of these type of questions. I think that's the funniest thing ever. And it's also really stressful.
And also, Dan, on a cold September evening when you find yourself doing deck of cards, staying back an hour late after training, just ask yourself, was it worth it?
Like, I just want you to know, Dan, like I'm all for working and all for playing up the gimmick. There is no gimmick here. There is no work. Like you have set me to the point now where, like, you keep talking about comeback wrestling training, and I would strongly consider going to the other school because you will not like the repercussion of this. And by all means, you can be on FFPW shows because I am going to break you.
Amazing.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for that question, Dan. I don't know how to follow it, but we're just gonna have to try follow it. At Owen_Davis1. I recently had a big plot point of Salute to
Last
what
of
is
Us
that?
2.
The Last of Us 2, yes, my favorite. Spoiled for me, but I'm still looking forward to game and can't wait to play it. How much do spoilers affect your ability to enjoy something once you see it? Have I ever expressed my opinion on spoilers? I don't think I have.
Only the casual 1,000 times.
Well, I mean, first thing I want to say is, in terms of The Last of Us 2, I don't understand this whole idea. I talked this in the group chat the other day, yeah? So, any of you that are fucking into your games, yeah? What's better? A story game that's basically a fucking movie that you've got a controller with, or fucking a game with the lads, with a PlayStation party, all fucking screaming at each other? Which is better? Because I firmly believe the latter is way better, and anyone who says otherwise just never experienced a good party. But that's my own opinion on it. What's Rick? What's your
The Last of Us is my favorite game ever. I love both. I love both. I love socializing and like having a game and having a few drinks and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, I see the merits. The Last of Us and FIFA are the two games that I played the most over the past year. So I do obviously like enjoy both sides. So I don't think you need to pick one or the other. The Last of Us, for me, if I saw a spoiler, it'd help ruin it, because it is like a movie. But the thing is, it's not like cutscenes in a movie. You play through the cutscenes. So without giving too much away, like, you play as characters who die, you play as characters while they're dying, and you feel like you're in the game legitimately struggling for your life. And
can you survive or die? Does your actual, like, what you do in the game shape the ending?
There are things that actually do, like, so there's scenes in it, like The Last of Us is, of all games to bring that point up with, The Last of Us is probably the worst, because there are things in it where you realise you didn't need to. Like, there's bits where it's like, there's a question in The Last of Us where it's like, did you kill the doctor? And then it's like, holy shit, I'm a murderer. Like, I murdered an innocent civilian who didn't need to die. And it's like, it just...
Why'd you do that?
Right at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And
it takes a dark turn at the end, like.
Yeah, and you're just like, holy shit, I slaughtered everyone in that room, and it's only afterwards when I kind of like thought about it that I'm like, none of them needed to die, but it wasn't a question for me in the moment. So it puts you're playing the game while you're in the mindset of it as well. Like, so for me, I love The Last of Us. I'm gonna play it the first time on easy mode, because I want to get the story, and I don't want to kind of risk getting stuck in the game and not knowing what the story is. But then I'll go back and play it as hard mode, because the gameplay is fucking excellent in it.
That's what I was gonna ask. Would it be fun though, like just to play? Like, say we play Call of Duty or something, you know what I mean?
I just played The Last of Us there for, like, I played it on the PS3 twice, and then I got it on the PS4 to play it ahead of this. The gameplay in it is fantastic, so it's worth... I never would play story games twice normally, but the gameplay in it is so good, and you forget so many beats about the story, because the story is so dense that, for me, it's worth it. Like, all 3 times I've forgotten stuff, and I've remembered it. And then also as well, you forget the feeling that you had when you play it. Like, there's nothing like being in a game and feeling what it's like to die. It's like, it's fucking next level. Like, the first time I played it, I was fucking crying as I was dying. I'm like, no, get up, because the controller is shaking like a pulse. Like, it's your heartbeat is slowing, and it's just like, you feel like you're dying because you're so engrossed in the game. Like, it's fucking traumatizing, but an amazing experience. So The Last of Us, it'll ruin the game for me, but it's got such good gameplay that even if I do get spoiled, because I know they're out there and they're everywhere right now, I'll still play it, and I'll still love it, and there'll still be bits in it that'll still shape me, because it's so deep and dense that it will. But spoilers, they ruin so much. Like a movie, it can ruin an entire experience. But there are some movies that are immune to it. There are some movies you still have to experience and see. Even stuff like Tiger King is like, you could hear everything that happened in there, but you still have to watch it to kind of understand it. Because if you hear Carol Baskins killed her husband, it doesn't describe what actually happened. It doesn't change how you feel about it when you watch it. It's still holy shit when you actually go through the bits of the story. So there are some things that are immune to it, but 90% of the time, they ruin it.
Yeah, spoilers bad.
Like, I would love to do a whole podcast on just The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like how much of a spoiler is it now? It's been out years. Can we talk about it?
I think we're good to talk about the original. Yeah, not the new one if you've seen it.
Is that the scary one I saw you playing?
Yeah, like the point where like, I was sitting in the dark playing it and like just hearing the clicks, like that drove me, like that was really getting to me, like
Yeah.
like just, I was terrified to move. Like I was going through levels like 2 hours ago. Like I was like, because if you moved, they could hear you.
Yeah.
So I was literally, and I'm sure you could have moved quicker than I was moving. Like I was literally going, step, don't move. I went there for 5 minutes and move again. And but even towards the end of that, where like you were talking about, like, you know, I mean, can we talk about spoilers? I'm sure we can.
The first one, you're good. The first one's been out years, and anyone who's going to play it has played it.
So you finally get her to the end. You finally get her to this hospital, and you realise that like she has the cure to this disease, but they have to kill her to do it. And like the character you play decides like, no, I'm not letting them kill her. So you kill all these doctors, and like you're like, you've also killed the world. Like it's one of these things where you're the hero, but you're an anti-hero, and not the cool kind of anti-hero. You're doing it in a very selfish way of like.
Wait, I have a question. Can you choose to kill her?
No, but you can choose to kill the doctors, and you can choose the way that you go about it as well. Like so, but also as well, because this isn't like a plot twist. Like you're very much in control of the character, and you want to save her. So like you are making that choice, even though the game doesn't give you that choice. The way it manipulates you, you will do it time and time again, because you're not going to let her die, because you're that engrossed in the game that. There will be no point in them making another version of that, because you wouldn't take it no matter what, like, because you care. By the time you've got to that point, you're going to make that choice every time. It's the fucked up part about it.
All right.
It's amazing.
Well, I mean, that's how you played it. Well, I don't know. I can't comment on The Last of Us. I've never played it, and I never will. Well, I might. You never know, but. It's unlikely. I just don't really have time, you know what I mean? Like, story games just don't... I don't know. They just don't grab me. I don't know.
Play Call of Duty?
Not the campaign, only the multiplayer.
Oh my God, how would you... Like, you pay so much money for Call of Duty. How would you not just spend 2 hours and complete the campaign?
Because, like, I already spend a lot of time on multiplayer and Warzone now, especially now with Warzone. A lot of time is spent on it, so I'm getting my money's worth as it is, you know what I mean?
I hate like campaign levels where like you're vulnerable. Like one thing about like there's one point in the campaign of Call of Duty at the moment where you're up against a juggernaut, and like this guy is like suited and booted, like, and you have to like shoot him like 1,000 times or whatever, and like that's a hard level. But I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm a grown man. I've got my own machine guns. Ba 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 ba. I run and I get him again. Ba 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 ba. There's a point in it as well though where you play as a little girl. And you're up against this muscly lad, and you've got nothing. You find a knife on the floor, and you're playing against this muscly Russian lad who has a gun, and like stuff like that. Really, like when I play it, I'm like, oh my God, I don't like this. I'm too vulnerable. Like I don't know how to. Like all I'm really thinking about here is survive, like run and survive, like until I figure out exactly how to beat him. Like the campaign mode, like story levels like that, I prefer over like, oh, let's just show up here, like shoot a load of people and get to the end point, like. And the same, you have that in The Last of Us as well. It's like the real sort of rapey scene, I want to say.
Yeah.
You know the one where like your man is like he's trying on with your one, and like your one's having none of it, and then he basically tries to kill her or rape her or whatever. Like, and there was a point of that where like you have to duck down and hide behind shelves, and I duck down and you can't see anything. You can't see him. And like I'm like, where is he? And all of a sudden it comes to a cutscene. It's just him putting a big massive machete through your spine, and it comes out the other side. And I immediately jumped up and went, oh! Oh no! Like that like I scenes like that, like levels like that really get me emotionally when I'm playing games.
See, what gets you in that scene is you're playing as the girl struggling against this guy. So you're in the scene. Like, you are, this is like something that you're actively struggling against. So when that happens, you can't not get that reaction because you're like, oh my God, like, this is so fucked up, but you're fighting for your fucking life. And you feel like they put you in that mindset. And then when that happens, it's such, like, it does, you jump because you can't not. Because you're playing it, like, you're living it, you know what I mean? It's unbelievably good.
But in terms of spoilers, so you're not a fan of spoilers. Phil, what's your stance on spoilers then?
I got, like, mainly it's just wrestling spoilers, and I actually got to a point, and I actually think this affected me in the long run when it came to my social media and Twitter. Right? Like, when Twitter and all started first coming out, or I first joined it, like, I had a load of people. I was following a load of people, right? And I used to watch Raw. I might watch it the day after. I might watch something like. Well, people used to, like, obviously watch it live and would tweet stuff, and I would immediately just unfollow them. Like, I'd be like, "That's it, you're gone." Like, you put out a spoiler, you're done. Like, I will unfollow you on Facebook, I'll unfollow you on Twitter. You'll be unfriended. That'd be it. I'm not. That'd be it. Like, because I'd be like,
very zero tolerance policy.
Yeah, I have a very zero tolerance policy. Like, if you've done a spoiler and I'm not following you, you know why, right? Like, well, like, I hate people that put up spoilers. Like, I would apply not just to wrestling. Like, if people put up for The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or anything I was watching that I couldn't watch live, like, I'm just like, well, and in fairness, the world's copped on a lot more now, where, like, people are like, right, oh, they'll put up fake things like, oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But, like, I also hate when people talk about Raw and they'll say, like, oh my God, that was a fucking amazing surprise. Because I'm like, shit. Like, now I'm watching Raw, and all I'm waiting for is that fucking surprise.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my fucking God. Right. So, I've basically, alright, okay. Spoilers are the fucking worst. Right? This is my opinion on spoilers. They're the fucking worst. When it comes to, I don't mind people putting it on their own Twitter or putting it on their own whatever, because I believe it's my responsibility to avoid social media until I've seen it. So as long as it's already aired and they put it out, I don't mind. But don't fucking come to me fucking spoiling shit on me and then fucking look at me weird when I lash out, because for me, when it comes to wrestling, if you give me the result, you fucking ruined it. Like, you've ruined it on me. I don't care. People can say, oh well, I don't know, the result is only 5% of the actual thing. I don't care. The result's everything. The result is like why I enjoy the rest of the match, because I care about who wins and loses. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, but even as Phil was just saying, like, even we did this on the last the last podcast we did in Butker's, when you described to me about Shane, the Elimination Chamber, the Women's Elimination Chamber. And my point was, you can fucking spoil the whole thing on me. Not you individually, Rick, but, like, in general. You can spoil the whole fucking thing on me by giving me, oh, that was great, oh, that was bad, oh, that's going to divide people. Because then you've eliminated so many possibilities in one sentence, you know what I mean? When I watch wrestling, it's the idea that anything can happen that really gets me all excited about it, you know what I mean? But if you say, that's amazing, you have now altered my expectations. So my expectations are higher, and if it now has a much higher expectation to me than it did with you, the original viewer. Yeah. I can't fucking stand spoilers. They ruin fucking everything on me, even if it's something incredibly vague.
Cian, on behalf of the Low Blows team, we know.
I used to have domestics with Katie about this, right? It just dawned on me when you were saying that. Like, so what would happen is I'd be asleep anyway, and she wouldn't. She'd be up on her phone, right? And Kate would follow a lot of things that I wouldn't follow, and that's fair enough. She can do her social media, that's fine. She's much more savvy, much more up to date, much more interactive with people than I am.
Down with the kids.
Hello, kids.
I got to this stage, and this happened more than once, by the way. Right, so I'd be asleep, or I'd just be, eyes closed. I'm kind of aware. I'm just trying to get a few extra minutes, and then she'd turn around and go, "Oh my God, we have to watch Raw tonight," and I'd be like, you should wake me up almost, and I'm like, why do we have to watch Raw today? Oh, I'm not telling you, but something happens. I'm like, fucking like, you cannot tell me that. Like, I don't care if it's been ruined for you. Do not ruin Raw for me. I want to watch it, and I just want to be surprised when fucking Goldberg's music hits. Like, I'm like, and I was just, I would lose the plot like that. But like he's like, I didn't mean to spoil it for you. Like, I didn't want to be spoiled. And I was like, no, but you follow people who are going to spoil this stuff. I was like, unfollow them. And she's like, I'm not unfollowing people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a wrestler. Like, I'm not unfollowing anyone. Like, that's fair enough. But don't ruin it for me. Like, keep a secret. And like, maybe not being able to keep secrets.
This is the life you chose, Phil. This is the life you chose.
I hate spoilers as well. Like, I remember being in work waiting to go home and watch Adrian Neville versus Sami Zayn for the NXT title. Someone spoiled it, and I remember becoming irate in work because like that match I'd been waiting on for so long. Like, if someone spoils Drag Race on me, I get really, really ticked. Like, I don't actually like spoilers, but you know what it is about wrestling as well. Sometimes it gets spoiled by people who don't actually watch wrestling, but they know you do, and they want to try and make a connection.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the night when Shane McMahon came back. And I was in work sitting down, and then just some lad I work with goes, oh, you like the wrestling, don't you? And I was like, yeah. But you see, Shane McMahon came back last night. What?
Shit.
I was in college when he announced Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker. And you know how I got spoiled, right? And I'm a spoiler-free zone on social media. I'm sitting there during the lecture or whatever it was, right? And Sky Sports notification straight onto my phone, straight onto my my the notification you get saying Shane McMahon challenged The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I mean, I was untethered. My rage knew no bounds. Like, I was in this lecture and I was furious. I was like, motherfucking Sky Sports, I'm in WrestleMania season. I'm completely self-isolating here. Like, not to get any spoilers so I get to watch it, brother. And Sky Sports, first thing I've ever seen them spoil on wrestling.
Yeah, when you like wrestling now? Oh, fucking hell.
That's hilarious.
It's upsetting.
So we're all anti then.
Yes, very anti-spoiler. Fuck spoilers, and fuck you if you spoil anything on anyone. Thanks for the question, though. At Joe Stodge, what was the scandal in your school? Someone in mine crapped on the floor of the Jacks and shaped it into a Blair Witch Project logo.
I love these stories. Joe's stories after the question are always like better than the question themselves.
It's always like, here's this fucking story that's going to take you to a whole new world. And oh yeah, by the way, here's the question.
Yeah.
Well, what's your school scandal though, Rick?
I can only think, like, I tried thinking of this, and I can only think of bad stories that were like bullying and like horrible rumors. Like, my school was awful for like horrible like rumors that had just ruined someone's reputation that were completely untrue, but everyone accepted as fact, and it was like not a nice thing. So like I can think of a few things, but not things that I'd want to say about people, especially because I know they're not true. Like, it had happened to me, and I probably partook in it with other people as well. Like, but yeah, it wasn't a good look. So yeah, that was my school. They were dickheads.
Did you ever see Derry Girls?
Yeah.
No. Would you believe I plan on watching it?
Yeah.
Like, it's a non-wrestling show that I plan on watching. I know, mad stuff.
You love
It's
it.
very good. Watch it. And this isn't a spoiler. But we're talking about school trips because obviously it's based around like school kids. And I was only telling Phil the other day about we went on an adventure weekend in my school. I think it was like Delphi. You ever heard of Delphi? Where you go and you do like kayaking and like rock climbing.
Yeah, we went.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great crack. But 3 lads snuck a load of joints in. And they thought they were deadly, having this little party in their room and smoking the joints or whatever, not realising that the vent in their room went directly into the teacher's bedroom. So as soon as they sparked up, like, the teachers woke up and they had to be escorted home from Delphi in the middle of the night. Like, we woke up and they were just gone. And, like, the teachers didn't want to tell us why. So, like, the whole day was just, like, all these mad stories about, like, fucking pervert Delphi staff and like maybe a bear got them, or like just all just of like we caught them smoking, so we took them home. That was a big scandal for a long time, like, but they literally got caught 10 seconds after sparking up because it just went straight through the vents.
Idiots. I love how you jumped immediately to bear, though. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so I can't. So here's here's a scandal that is never talked about in my school. But there was when I was in 6th year, there was a lad in 1st year who used to always fucking whenever he'd see me walking home, because like it kind of most people would walk in the same direction whenever because he lived near the school. He'd always run up to me and say some dumb shit. And, like at one point he runs up to me and he's like, "Cian," I'm like, "What?" "Me and Miss Cunningham had sex." I'm like, I mean, that sounds like a scandal that should be probably talked about a bit more. For some reason, I doubt this 13-year-old did, in fact, have sex with his teacher. And another one, like, he couldn't just say other, like, what is it? "Cian, what? You'll never guess what happened." "What? I fucked a rubber at Miss Hall's head." It's like, all right. I couldn't wait to get out of that skill. But yeah, I'd say that if everything he said was true, he alone would have about 50 different scandals. But yeah, I can't think of any big one off the top of my head. There definitely would be, but like, yeah, just off the top of my head, I can't think of any. Fuck yeah, but thanks for the question, Joe. At Spudino90 with his easiest question to date, in my opinion. €1 million, but you have to lose one of your hands or feet, and it's the preferred one. So right one if you're right-handed or footed, left one if not, and you can't get any fancy prosthetics to replace them either. Do you take the money, and if so, what are you losing? Well, no, yeah, that's my answer as well. No, not a chance.
Really, I would.
What?
Your limbs are very adaptable.
No, they're not.
Yes. Phil, I lived without...
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, but I'd have one arm here, so...
How'd that go when you had no arms?
So it wasn't great.
How's it going now with 2 arms? I'm saying that they're not 100%.
But, like, you get adaptable. Like, I was able to open doors and stuff with my feet. Like...
Could you play PlayStation?
I can't really play PlayStation with 2 arms.
So what's a million? What are you going to do with the £1,000,000 more so? I mean, I'll answer that real quickly there.
You're taking this really hard.
Yeah, because I hate stupid answers.
I would lose a hand, right? Because then I could still play sport, and your hands are very adaptable. I could teach myself to do everything I do with my right hand with my left hand.
Yeah, so wrestling's all on the left anyway. So.
Yeah, there we go.
But you don't get to choose. Like, are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you can still work the left. There you go. Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
If somebody puts you in a wrist lock, you won't be able to counter.
I did stop Black Gowan for making a good go of it without one leg.
Did he really?
He got battered. Did you see what Brock Lesnar did to him?
I would take the money and lose a hand. Have you ever seen King? Works out grand for him.
No, you're mad. I would literally no. Like for me, if you gave me even 100 billion, I wouldn't give up a hand. Like, because then I can't play. Like, no, ignore all the minor. There's about 1 million minor inconveniences you're not even thinking of. But like, just even playing PlayStation, I could never play PlayStation again. So it's like you're giving me all this money. What am I going to do with it? At the end of the day, it won't find me happiness.
You can choose a foot.
For like 100 billion, I'd maybe consider a foot, but for $1 million, no. Like I do like walking. You know what I mean? I like being able to walk. I like being like, just so like, yeah. I wouldn't even think twice about it. No, I wouldn't take the money.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. No, there has to be some kind of quality of life after this. And again, it's the interesting part around making $1 million this, because it is life changing. You get a house and like you get some like stuff out of it. But you still got to work, like.
You retire on it, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So, like, there has to be some quality of life left in there. If it was 100 billion, then, you know, you could fucking employ someone to carry you around. You know what I mean? It could actually be pretty fun. Yeah. But, like, $1 million, no, you still got to work, you still got to live. You just get a house out of it.
Here's the definition of that question, why the question is flawed. If I went out and lost a leg in a pothole, let's say, on a Dublin street, and I sued Dublin County Council, I get more than $1 million.
Oh shit! Yeah.
That's why it's interesting. It's why it's interesting because it's like putting that there in the middle. It's not life changing. If it was 100 billion, we'd say yes every week. Because it's $1 million, we have to actually think about like what we need and what we can get. Because you could get a lot of benefits for $1 million. None of us will turn down $1 million for nothing. But
with this question though. This question, $1 million is nowhere near enough.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on that side too. Like, there needs to be quality of life, and I need to still be able to live. So no, I wouldn't.
Interesting question. So we're all. Oh no, Katie said yeah, because fuck's sake.
Broker elbows.
Thanks for the question, though.
My sympathy. That's the real question. When did that work in?
You got a year of it. This is our time now.
My sympathy went out the window. My sympathy went out the window when you bottled it last January. That's when my sympathy went out the window. After all that,
your sympathy left a long time before that. Do you remember my first low blows back and you gave me a microphone to hold with 2 cats on? And you took a picture of what
that was Rick. That was all Rick.
That was me. I'm pretty proud of that, actually.
And then every time I dropped the microphone, you referenced it on air that I couldn't hold it myself.
I was just informing the listener.
Well, I held a door for you. Like, that's pretty nice. Like...
I didn't, but I'm sure I would have if I thought about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, hilarious.
But thanks for the question though. I still love these questions. They're interesting. At Read_no_numbers, what's the closest you've come to making an exception to the customer is always right rule? Last week I was called an ignorant idiot by a customer because I told a coworker to enjoy the sun after a shift. Interested to know if there's been any cases for you guys. I mean, Rick, this feels like a question that's like designed for you. You hate customers.
It's not. Yeah, I was going to say my answer was going to be, have you seen the low blow social media? I don't hate customers. I'm very like, what you see is what you get, but I'm very straight. So the line is very low for the customer is always right, because they're not. But like, not in a bad way. Like, it's just a case of, I think Irish people appreciate this though. Like, you look at what's the White Moose Cafe, where they'll just say it out straight to people, where they're like, you're being a bitch here, like you're being a dope. And people appreciate that. I think Irish people appreciate honesty more than licking arse. If we lived in America, the customer is always right. That's part of their culture, where they have this sense of entitlement. In Ireland, we have notions, and I like that. I like the fact that you can call people out. If someone's being a dick, like, because it's my company as well, like, I can get away with it and I can take that risk. I wouldn't necessarily go like slating Fight Factory customers or anything like that, because it's not me that I'm kind of harming. But like, I think you can push back on people a little bit, and I think sometimes people need to be pushed back on, because like, people will take advantage of you at times if you don't, and you have to watch out for that as well. I remember when I worked in security, I used to talk about how people will rob you through the till just by taking advantage of you, and companies rolling over for customers every time. And you have to have some integrity and some standards for the sake of preserving business, like, or else everyone will rob you, and then there won't be a business. So like, yeah, no, I think the customer isn't always right. I don't think the customer always knows what they want. I think a part of your job is to be able to facilitate that though, and to turn it around to a position where they agree. I'll push back on people all the time. I remember one of my hot takes this week, a few months ago, was picking up on bad feedback that we got, where I was like, no, I still disagree with everything you said, but I respect the fact that we had a back and forth conversation. And even though we disagreed on it, and I pushed back on the person complaining, we ended up respecting each other at the end, because he was like, well, I appreciate where you're coming from, thanks for getting back and being respectful about it. I wasn't a dick to him. I didn't tell him to fuck himself. I just said, no, well, I disagree, and here's why. And then he said, okay, well, look, that's fair enough. Thanks for replying to me, and thanks for taking the time to give a shit about what I said and taking some stuff on board. So I think people can appreciate that in Ireland in particular, maybe not in America.
How do we feel about the I pay your wages statement?
Oh, I hate it.
I've got the absolute best comeback for that. Like I've had people say that to me often. Like, excuse me, I pay your wages, and I goes, really? do you think I earn €57 a month? Do you think I pay a month? Do you think you're paying my wages? Is that what you think? You think you single-handedly pay my wages? I only earn €57 a month, and you are in control of me. And like, I just absolutely turned it back on them. Like, I don't earn €57 a month. Like, I don't pay my wages, by the way. You pay my bosses who pay my wages. Yeah. You don't pay my wages. And it drives me crazy when people use that term.
Yeah.
I had it in work. I had it in my shoot job. So my shoot job is directly adjacent to the Dracula Museum in Clontarf, right? And so we advertise it in our premises, right? And it just so happens that the poster is a female vampire kissing a female victim. Not kissing, sucking blood from her neck, right? I've kind of like leaned into her side of the argument. This woman comes into the office. I'm the manager, and I'm sitting there. This woman comes into the office and goes, "Excuse me, your Dracula advertisement out there is outrageous. It's scandalous. I can't believe you're letting kids see that. Like, it's lesbian. The sexual undertones of it. It's disgraceful." Like, and I was all like, "No, I don't really see what the issue here is. Like, I'm sorry, that's an external company advertising here. You have to bring it up with them. Excuse me, it's on your premises. It's outrageous. Something needs to be done. This is disgraceful. Children shouldn't be allowed to see that." And I goes, "It's 2019. I think we can have a female Dracula at this stage." Like, a female to a woman, by the way. Like, so she was like completely giving me this like PC absolute boss. I just turned it back on her and said, like, it's 2019. I think it's okay to have a female vampire, like a female Dracula. I think that's something we can accept in our society. And she couldn't take it. Like, she lost it. Like, she was all like, "I'm going out here and I'm starting a Twitter campaign to get you closed down." And she stood out there, and I actually asked her at one point as well. I goes, "Excuse me, are you a member of this? Are you a member of this company? Like, are you a patron of us?" "Oh, no, I'm just meeting somebody here for a coffee." And I was like, "You just march into our office. You don't even give us any money, and you're literally just meeting somebody for a coffee, and she's coming in and telling us how to run our company." Like, lost. It was one of those things where, like, I always get complaints. Like, and I get complaints on there. It was on a genuine complaints. And if anyone genuinely complains, I will listen to it. Yeah. Like, I will take it on board. Like, I like, look, if I can help anyone, I'll always try to help someone. Yeah. She just drove me into nuts because I listened to the whole thing and I was all like, "Are you giving out that there's a woman potentially kissing another woman? Like, it's 2019 here. Like yeah. Kids can't see this for like kids can definitely see this and they should be allowed to see it. Like, isn't a girl walking through here that's slightly confused about why she likes girls and doesn't like boys and doesn't see that as like a way to like know that she can express herself properly, like." And I like, but just baffled me the bigotness of it all, like, but the bigotness in thinking that she was right, and that's what gets me, like that. I would push back on that 100%. I'm not listening to like I hate those bigots, but just anyone if they're just not right, you have every right to just fucking tell them as it is, like. And if you get fired for it, you don't want to work for that company anyway. Then
that's a fair point.
Yeah, the customer isn't always right. Like, one of the most satisfying things that ever happened to me in work was watching these two young lads not tidying away their weights. I was pretty sure they were too young to be on the floor they were on. So I went up and chatted to them and was like, "Look, lads, you're going to have to tidy away your weights." And one of them turns to me and goes, "Is that not your job, love?" I was like, what's your names? Harry Potter and Dumbledore. Right. Okay. Went down to the manager on duty and I pointed them out and I was like, "Do you know who they are?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's so-and-so and so-and-so. They're only 15. They shouldn't be up there." And I went back up and I was like, "Right, I know both these are only 15. So I need you to tidy up your weights and I need you to leave." And they start giving me more and more shit. "Look, you're the woman round here. Like, should you not be picking these up for us?" And I'm getting angrier and angrier. Now, the manager on duty at the time was a fucking star. So I just called down and was like, "Yeah, they're not moving. Send security up."
Nice.
So the security guards arrive onto the gym floor. The two lads shit themselves, right? They get escorted down to the manager's office, like off the floor, down to the manager's office. At which stage, me and the manager just like, so she actually recognises, we know both your names. Is this your information? Yeah. They're looking paler and paler by the second. We're just going to call your mams and let them know what you said to the manager on duty today. The two of them ended up crying, begging them to call their mas. We did it anyway because they're little shits.
Nice.
And they were right. So, yeah, that was one of my most satisfying. It doesn't always work out like that, but like when you've got a good manager working with you who's not willing to take shit, it's satisfying.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, really. No, I think the whole customer is always right stuff is that's it's very American. You know what I mean? That's not really. As Rick said, like I don't really think that's an Irish thing. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Thanks for the question, though. Where am I now?
Clueless Nerd.
At Clueless Nerd. What is the most random nickname you've ever been given? My first day in the old NWA school, Justy said I had a burger-shaped head, so for 14 years I was known as Burger the King.
It's Adam Burger.
Yeah.
Burger. And he had a mate as well, who we call Cheese.
I don't think I can top that. I don't think I can top Phil's unbridled joy. I just remember him. That was amazing. I think that's one of my favourite moments ever in Low Bros history.
Yeah, here's the whole thing, and Adam Turner, I don't know, he might appreciate me saying this. Right, I remember that when he used to train on Blair, right? And he didn't train there for like a week around. Adam was there for a long time, like, and he used to do training. We used to do match in the gym, and he dressed up as the Hamburglar, like he played into it, like he, you know, the Hamburglar in McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like he came out wearing like a vest top with like white and black stripes, and I might be wrong, and Adam would probably fucking confirm this on Twitter later, but like he might have worn like the bandana, like the Zorro headwear. Like, I'm not sure, but like I'm definitely sure there was a gym show where the Hamburglar was a character. I could be wrong, but definitely could have existed at one point.
Oh, fantastic! I think that wins. I don't think can anyone top that.
I don't really have like any nicknames. You know what I mean? Like it's nicknames don't tend to kind of be. I don't know. I don't tend to be around too many nicknames. You know what I mean? It's people tend to just call it by normal name, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, in wrestling, obviously, you have your gimmick name, and then you have your name that everyone knows you have, and then you have your real name. You know what I mean? For the most part, like, Phil and Katie are two exceptions that have just got to, like, stick with their names and not get, like, too many. Although, Katie, you've got a few interesting ones.
Oh, I get called all sorts, yeah. Like, in the gym, they call me Big Dumb Bird.
You do squawk. You like to squawk.
I don't squawk. It's just how
squawk saying squawk.
When we went back to the casino for the first few times after I broke my arms, when they were healing, I wasn't able to straighten them out completely. So the lad who works in the casino calls me Elbows ever since.
Oh yeah.
I was playing roulette. I couldn't reach all the numbers, so like I would just like have my little T-Rex arms and I'd just kind of be flinging coins on.
Why do we not think to call you Rex? And then oh man, so many missed opportunities. You said we weren't nice to you.
Forgetting to make fun of me doesn't count as being nice.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
I'll tell you after outing Adam there. The worst nickname I ever got in wrestling was B Roster Boyd. Yeah. So like, this is way back in the NWA days. Like, we were doing like a lot of shows. So like, and I was on every show. The same way Paddy was on every show. Yeah. Justin, Danny, Maxer, like we were all on every show, right? And there was a weekender coming up, and Freddie this wasn't regular, but out of the blue, like they put up the card. And like, you have to remember, like, we were training with like 50 people at the time. Yeah. And they put up the 2 cards, and it turns out I was only on the Saturday night and I wasn't on the Sunday night. Yeah. But I was so used to doing both nights, and so was everyone else. And of course, like, everyone copped this. Like, everyone copped this who were like, fucking Phil's at the end drafting the second show, like, right? And like, every bus journey to and from Bray for 2 weeks was just B Roster Boyd there. Look, not A Roster, just B Roster, only on one show, and like the rest of the schmucks. And like, I was fuming. Like, I was so angry about this. Like, I was like, I can't believe, like, they won't even put one show. I was embarrassed by the lads. They were constantly slagging me off. Like, weekend comes anyway. I do the Saturday night match, and I'm like, yeah, I have to go match, and had the match and enjoyed it. I got into we all went out. We used to finish the show on Saturday, and we'd always try and get back to Bray Saturday night, and then we'd go out drinking in the nightclub in Bray Saturday night, sleep in the gym, and then luckily enough, the show was either in Bray on the Sunday or close to Bray. So I'm there in the nightclub, and Paul Tracy meets me. I just happened to bump into Paul Tracy at the bar. By the way, at the stage of me and Paul Tracy's relationship, we haven't talked, right? So Paul's like the coach, and he hasn't spoken. I'm there probably about 2 years at the stage. Yeah. Paul barely said a word to me. And this wasn't strange. Paul didn't say a lot to anyone. Like. Yeah. And he goes, who are you wrestling tomorrow? He goes, no wrestling, Paul. Like, it's like, what, wrestler? Yeah, no, not on the card. And then he talks to Fergal, and then they talk, and then it turns, and like the both of them were like, you're not on the card. And he goes, no, I'm not on the card. No, I'm not on the card now. And then they're all like, oh fuck, like we didn't realize, like, and they put me in like a gauntlet match, which was a real small spot, but like I was just glad to be on both shows. And I was thinking, that's the end of it, right? I got on the boat shows, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not B Roster Boyd. I wasn't. I was fucking called B Roster Boyd. I'm still called B Roster Boyd. Danny Butler to this day. He's still called B Roster Boyd. But that went on for a while. Like I was still B Roster Boyd every single time a card went up. Oh, I wonder if B Roster Boyd is on this card. Like, I'm like,
that's your beyond the mat moment, where it's like, are you going to be there? No, I'm not going to be there. Why aren't you going to be there? I really want you to be, because I wasn't booked. That's your beyond the mat story. Fergal is Terry Funk, and that's hilarious.
And after all going from B Roster Boyd and you know, all over the years, you know, like building up your reputation, going to Japan, Dan decides to list you down as €1. Just in case Dan was going to get away with it.
Oh, brilliant.
For fuck's sake, I keep shutting down the phone. Excuse me, you're very unprofessional of me. But yeah, thanks for the question, Adam. Or Burger. At Simpsons WWE, what's the biggest bullshit story you've told a child for the crack? I told my kids twirls were invented for NASA because astronauts couldn't eat flakes in space with bits of chocolate getting stuck in the instrument on the space shuttle. That's
really good.
I love this.
Yeah, I believe it.
This is something I love to do. I haven't, like, I don't know. I don't really have a child in my life now to have any current relevant stories. I remember one time we were watching. I think I was with a girl and she had a son, and like she was upstairs like getting changed or whatever, and the Sound of Music was on TV, and they were like, it's a kids movie, but there's Nazis and stuff in it, and so like he turns around and asks me what a Nazi is, and I'm like, he's bold, and he's really young. And I'm like, oh, they're bold boys. And then he's like, so they don't get any sweets? And then I'm like, no sweets for Nazis. And the other way kids, Do you know why kids catch on to things and they just, especially the things you don't want them to say, they just say, like, they'll say it over and over again. So, like, his mom, my ex, comes down and all of a sudden she just finds her son in the room going, no sweets for Nazis, no sweets for Nazis. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, I love telling lies to kids. I used to do with my little sister all the time. I don't know, I suppose I should have grabbed her and asked her what her favourite, how I disappointed her when she learned I was lying to her as she grew up.
Well, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't really have any, like, kid to sort of bullshit to. So I don't know, like, I just talk shit all the time. I can't really think of one. Like, I don't know. Fuck, this caught me off guard. Katie, Phil, do you have any bullshit stories you tell?
This wasn't exclusively for kids, but the most recent one we've done was, I out Billy?
Really?
I thought, like, there's a thing on Google where you can Google an animal and it brings up like a 3D version, and then you can link it to your camera and take pictures if the animal is near you. So basically, I took a lot of pictures of our garden, and I got Phil and his uncle to pose as if they were looking after a goat in our garden. And I put the pictures on Facebook and I sent them to all our family, and we've convinced them since lockdown started that we've been keeping a goat in the front garden. I keep forgetting about this, and now it actually started to spread through Cabra. People started stopping by the garden to see the goat and to ask questions about it. So then I just kind of got bored and we stopped keeping it up, and I haven't, I've just been telling people it's not true.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so people thought we've had a goat living in our garden for 5 weeks.
I bought into that. I saw that stuff on social media and just forgot to ask you, and I ended up buying into that. I'm like, I guess this is happening now.
If you're like, why would they lie about that?
Exactly. It's totally believable because no one would ever think that you'd make it up, like. And you have the evidence there. Yeah, no, fair play.
You can see the difference in people who bought into it and didn't buy and knew it was a work from the whatever they decided to put as an emoji for liking it. So people who thought it was real just put the thumbs up, and then the people who knew it was a work just put the laughy emoji, like, when you hold it down for too long. Like.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
around Cabra started sharing it and stuff, like started sharing it.
Oh, amazing.
I can't think of any stories that I tell, but like I remember when I was basically friends with like the Irish equivalent of Jay from the In-Betweeners, like the Tala equivalent. And technically I would have been like 15, so he would have been telling this to a child. Oh, he was also a child himself, but still, like he'd be like the number one for like this sort of stuff. Like I remember him at one point being like him and this who was his friend at the time? He was like, my mate fucking hates when he has a gaff because whenever I show up, because like just think of this now. He points at himself unironically and just goes, "'Cause all them must prefer me." But he was like dead serious. And I couldn't stop laughing. And I remember one time, like, like he sort of characterized with all his fights and all that. And I remember one time going into his house, and I was just talking to him. He's like, I was talking about him. Like, this is back when I played football, and I was talking to him about the match. And I was like, "Oh yeah, like, I nearly played. Oh, that's the team I played against when I got trials for Joey's." And the thing is, when somebody bullshits me, I don't feel like I need to break them down. If somebody goes through the effort of telling me a story that's so full of shit, it's like, you are putting so much effort into that. I'm not going to turn around to you and be like, no, you're lying. You know what I mean? It's like, I respect the bullshit to an extent. But when he said that, I remember bursting out laughing so fucking hard when he said the Joey's thing that it just killed me. I don't know what it was. It was so random. But like, you just start laughing, and then you're laughing at the fact that you're laughing, so you laugh even harder. Yeah. And it was just that. And I remember him getting so angry. I was like, I didn't mean to laugh. But it was like, so anybody who said they got trials for Joey's basically is that was always a big sort of bullshit story. Nice. But yeah. Thanks to WWE for the question. Final question comes to us from Chris Jack 85, who asks, I've watched all the episodes so far of The Last Dance and had the obligatory rewatch of Space Jam for dessert. Nice. Who would be your 4 picks from Irish wrestling to join Dennis Rodman in taking on the Monster in a Survivor Series style match? And whose skills do the aliens take? This is very much over my head. So Rick,
Right.
or Katie, Phil, wait, Katie, did you say you were watching it?
Yeah,
So
we're
what-
the three of us are watching it.
Yeah.
So what is your Irish wrestling army then? So there's no price on this one.
It's for a wrestling match and not a basketball match. I misread this the first time.
Survivor Series style match. Could be a Survivor Series style basketball match.
You miss a shot, you're out. Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Okay, so Dennis Rodman's leading a wrestling team. Who can handle Dennis Rodman?
Who would Dennis Rodman pick?
Well, no, because we get to pick.
All right, yeah.
So forget. I'm gonna look at my Irish wrestlers list.
So
the
the plot of Space Jam, Cian, and for anyone else who hasn't seen it, just Cian. The plot of it is that the aliens take Michael Jordan's skills away, and they have to play a basketball match. The other basketballers have to play a basketball match against them to get Michael Jordan's skills back. So Michael Jordan is.
No, they don't take Michael Jordan's skills. They take NBA players' skills.
Oh, yes.
And the Losers recruit Michael Jordan because he's retired. So
Yeah.
that's why the Stars didn't go after him.
Right. Yes. Sorry. You're right. Good show. I haven't seen Space Jam in years.
We watched it 2 weeks ago.
Right, I'm probably going to watch it all after The Last Dance. When that ends, that's probably on the list. I like it. Is that on Netflix now?
Yeah, it came out. They put it on Netflix the day before The Last Dance.
Brilliant.
This is how it ended up spiraling.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing on Netflix. Well played, lads. So, right, so whose skills did the aliens take? So, wait, so there's no Irish wrestlers have skills?
what?
Like, if we're doing the Space Jam comparison, then, like, if they take all the NBA player skills, they take all of Irish wrestling skills. Am I right?
Yeah, because you said like joining Dennis Rodman in taking on the Monstars, but the Monstars were the ones who stole the skills in the film.
Yeah. So, like, surely they take. What about if we did it this way, where it's they take all of current Irish wrestling skills, and they have to do retired wrestlers like Michael Jordan in the movie to go on the team to come back for one last match, like Michael Jordan.
Okay, that's so like Finley and stuff.
Yeah. So retired. Yeah, exactly. So retired Irish.
Angel
wrestlers.
Cruz.
Angel, great show, brilliant show. I'm going to throw Red Vinny in there. He was quality back in the day. Who'd you pick from Team NWA generation? Retired now.
Tired now.
Yeah. So someone who could come back that wouldn't be in the current scene.
Jeez, there's still a lot of people taking along.
That's it. Like the NWA, like the core of it is all still going. Like.
I probably wouldn't ring a bell with anyone, but probably Robbie Morrissey.
Yeah, I think people know. I think people know the name.
Current 0-1 champion.
Who's that?
Robbie Morrissey, current 0-1 champion.
Oh, right. He just still has a defunct belt, does he?
I think it's now the heritage title, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, definitely throw him in there. So we
Pat
have
Barrett.
Pat Barrett,
Ah,
Velvet
Alex.
McIntyre.
I want Alex on the team. She could be the Lola Bunny.
There you go. All right, so we have our team.
That's our team. Wait, let's read it. Wait, read out the team one last time.
So we have Angel Cruz, Red Vinny, Robbie Morrissey, and
Alex Breslin.
Alex Breslin. Yes, quality team. That is an excellent team. I'd fancy,
Well-
and Dennis Rodman. Imagine those trying to get along, huh?
I cannot wait till it gets to the part in WCW where Dennis Rodman is a wrestler.
Dennis Rodman and Angel Cruz. Oh my God, that is a match made in heaven. That is fantastic.
Is Dennis Rodman friends with Kim Jong Un? Is that? Am I thinking? That's who I'm thinking of. So it's the right lad I'm thinking of.
So what would Angel Cruz be pulling out from underneath the ring? Like in terms of he pull out something North Korean. This would be amazing. Imagine Angel Cruz doing a Space Jam style video before the match. Oh my God, I need to see this actually happen. Can we make this happen? Could we get the people back just for this? I don't think we could afford Dennis Rodman. We could afford Gresh. We could get Dennis Rodman. It'll be fine. It's all going to work out. That's how we're putting this together. This is the official GM announcement. This is all happening at episode 14. Date to be arranged, venue to be arranged. The fact that wrestling may not happen to be arranged. There you go.
Pat Barrett is 78 years of age, but we'll bring him back. It's fine. We'll bring him back.
He's the manager.
No, he's going on it. He's going to be the one that he's going to be the Dolph Ziggler of this one. Right. So, thanks for the questions. Bye.
2.5 hours.